Good morning, traders. Let's get right to the action. It's a fast market out there. We got some stocks moving right now. I got my eye on one that's already getting the lift here, ripping above the resistance. Let's get right to the stocks. Let's get into today's playbook and one bonus that I just saw start to make the move. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and we'll get into the stocks action. Let's get to the first bonus one, and then we'll get to the three that I already had on the list here. We'll talk a little bit about some dust action here as we take a look to see gold on the downside today. And I'm going to look to see if this can continue to break down here. We'll see if dust can continue to rip out above the 32.50 spot here, breaking that right there at 817. Now just continuing going to 33s. This looks hot, guys. So I think we got to continue to watch this one. Not a bad stock at all. If you look at the daily has crossed now. We're really starting to come down on gold. And with this market move up, I think we can continue to trade this. This could also be traded with GLD and other plays. So gold down today, and it's already starting in play. This is where sometimes I tell you guys pre-market positions make sense. This is definitely a name that you could probably be coming after in the pre-market versus waiting until the liftoff. Already getting a nice little $3 pop. We'll see what happens on that. Let's keep going, guys. Let's take a look around. Let's go to the next one on the playbook. We'll get to a stock that I think we got to continue to watch to see if we can get some up action, but we're starting to get to oversold levels. But what do we got to look for? Stocks that just made kind of like a day one breakout move, right? We'll take a look at one of the ones here, NNE, that I traded yesterday. I traded this one based on a leader to laggard style trading style, right? Where I talk about how SMR has been on the radar and been on the playbook multiple times looking for the breakout above this resistance 18. And look at the breakout there, guys. That's a 26% move that I've been talking about on the playbook here. And there's a big reason why. Right? I tried putting on stocks that have really nice setups, especially more daily charts. This looks great now, guys. This is making a breakout attempt here, and I'm pretty sure I already have this drawn here. So what we're going to do is, you see this trend line. This is exactly where I could see the stock coming back into play. So where did this give us? This gives us another lift towards 24. So we still got a little bit of room here for SMR to run. And we can take a look at a bunch of names here. I mean, I could go to OKLO that just got it started. And this is one that's on the radar right now. So nice little bonus one here to look for a move here above. And you can see how it just broke out of this range right now, this resistance. It's using it as support today. Next move could be coming up there towards the 38. So I think this is definitely one you watch to see if it can hold the low today and continue to make a high here. Even a move down towards 32 would be looking good. I draw a trend line here from yesterday's action, and this is on a 15-minute chart. If it can come back into this trend line, yeah, I'm in for it. That's right on the 32. And you can take a look at plenty of names. Let's run through them. CEG has been one of the hot names in this space. Of course, the energy, the nuclear space. You're looking at energy names. You're looking at all different types of names out there to continue watching. You can take a look. We talked about SMR and NE, right? Then you can go to the material names. What about URA? The uranium ETF starting to really take off there. LEC, LEU. LEU really getting a nice little push there towards 100 on a pullback right now. We'll take a look at some other ones. What about CCJ, right? So the materials play is in play, this small nuclear theme. I've talked about it plenty of times on the show, and I hope that you guys are able to capture some there. Let's keep moving. Let's get out of NNE. Let's get to one more here. Let's go to Blade as we take a look at Blade. Do you guys know this one? This is Blade Urban Air Mobility, and it's really close to Archer. It's pretty much doing the same thing. But look at the takeoff in Archer. And this is one stock also been on the playbook for a while now, looking for the move. And I've missed Archer before, so I was a little upset yesterday about missing the breakout out the open. It was a monster 15 minutes. It went from 943 to 1082 here on Archer. Big breakout, guys. And this looks beautiful, guys. I mean, it's so nice that I need to post this chart. I need to post this chart. This chart just looks pretty, man. And these are the types of charts that you want to find, guys. Something that's pretty right now, technically. And there's sometimes when markets are running on technicals. Right now, they're running on technicals and no negative story. As long as the negative story can continue and the catalyst stays strong, the market looks hot. And look at Archer's move. So that tells me another thing. Take a look at the industry. So that's why I'm taking a look at Blade, right? It's not that I love Blade, it's that I'm trying to catch a leader to laggard style trade. If you take a look here, this trend line could come right into play right here where we start to get above it now. I think we could still get a pullback to 3 of its potential, but really what I'm looking for is a breakout above yesterday's high going to 4. And so it's not a huge move, right? But we could see how that could be a nice little break to the upside into this gap. We'll see what happens there. Not a bad move here for Blade. We'll see if that can kick the move. And of course, up is the other alternative with this one that is going higher and also ripping. These are cheaper, right? But the main one would be Archer. Let's keep it going, guys. The last play here on the list today is a little bit of a flip. If we do start to go down for any reason, where could I look for some trades? I think ETHU on the short side of things at some point is going to be a little bit of a pullback. It's barely pulled back today, right? It's just slightly red. I think this could be the day where we could get some pullback on this. Maybe it goes back to 60. I don't think it's going back down to 40, but I think this still gives us potential to get some quick move on a momentum name that could be starting to break down. We'll see what happens there on ETHU and the Ethereum run that we've been seeing. And there's another thing that I think that's important to know. I think it's very important to watch Bitcoin overall because Bitcoin led this rally. I mean, if I just think about the technicals, I remember Bitcoin started to rally and people were like, well, man, Bitcoin's rallying. The market isn't, though. The market's pretty down. What's going on here? Was there a disconnection here? Well, the correlation came back into play where the markets are going up, Bitcoin going up. Let's see if Bitcoin and those coins can lead the downside action here. We'll see if it starts to pull back, and then we start to see the market pull back after it. We'll see what happens there, guys. Of course, we can take a look at the Sunrise report to talk about stocks making the biggest moves. Let's get to the action. Let's take a look at the Sunrise and see what we got on the dock today. All right, traders, let's talk about the market overview right now. We can take a look at the SPY to do this, right? Of course, you can see how we're up a little bit, right? But the futures were down a little bit in this morning. They're just slightly kind of unchanged right now. We're slightly up now, but we're kind of bouncing back and forth because this morning we were kind of down here, right? So that made the move right back up. So the dip being already bought, we'll see if this can just continue. But the positive in the market just seems to not stop right now, as of course we got another lift in the sentiment from Monday's 90-day tariff reduction deal between the US and China has continued to push the market, and tech seems to be the driver, right? I mean, we've now really seen the XLK take off, and if you really look at the SMH, right? We talk about the ETFs all the time, semiconductor ETF here. Look at the move that's put in, guys. And that one's just continued gapping up, gapping up, gapping up. This is when I mean swing trading is very important. And I feel like I'm doing a disservice not even swing trading right here for you guys. So you guys keep hitting me, especially when we get those new accounts. Work on those swing trades. Let's get after it, guys. All right, traders, let's keep it going. We'll take a look around. How we doing out there? Good to see you out there, Billy. What's up? What's up? Two big names here. We'll talk about it. Of course, yeah, some big beneficiaries from that Saudi deal. We got to talk about the Saudi deal. We'll talk about NVIDIA, AMD, top beneficiaries. And then also I saw Marvell, Broadcom, and then what about Qualcomm? I saw Qualcomm mentioned in that deal, so I'm going to be watching to see if Qualcomm can make a run. I'll wait for Michael Noss to talk a little bit more about that deal, as I think that's one of the biggest ones of the day. But let's get to the action, guys. Let's talk more and more about the Sunrise report today as we take a look at some of the names, and good mention out there, of course. And we can get towards it as I get some information right here for you guys, right? Let's go to NVIDIA, as NVIDIA is up 5% after announcing it will ship 18,000 AI chips to Saudi Arabia, reaffirming its dominance in the AI arms race. And this is good news because we were starting to get kind of negative on AI players. This is going to give NVIDIA another lift. This is the move that could really go higher for NVIDIA. I know that I was even bearish NVIDIA, and I'm starting to flip just because of the news that we're starting to get. We're starting to get this recovery. And I drew this red line, right? I drew this red line early on, and this was a big cut through. And I said that if we ever got through that again, that's when you can really start to get positive on this stock. And I drew this one, created it on September 19th, updated it right now, just now. And you guys can see that on the screen. And this is what I'm going to be watching. Now that we're above that on that level, I think that you could get pullbacks to 123. We always got to keep that in mind. But right now, NVIDIA is in rocket mode. And overall, the market is in rocket mode. I'm talking about it. I've been saying it for a while now. The market is in euphoria mode. And some people are saying, well, but the market's not at all-time highs. But I would say here, I mean, just take a look at the momentum that we're seeing. These stocks are ripping and ripping higher indeed. All right, guys, let's keep it going, and we can talk more about that. And, of course, let's talk a little bit more about this tech dominance with Apple's 4-day win streak on a nice little move and could make a move towards the 220s. Amazon on a 5-day green streak. And when did this start? When we started catching the move here on Wednesday, when it had a strong day off the support. And we talked about how there was this relentless buying going on in Amazon. And it seemed to me like they were trying to get in, the big boys. And they did right before this big move. So I think the big boys are in Amazon, as they were trying to catch any of the mega cap stocks that they weren't in because of this downturn, right? So like if you were a money manager, what did you do? Well, I couldn't catch the run in certain ones like Microsoft and Meta if I wasn't playing those through the earnings, right? Well, then now I go to the other names and I start to catch them. Like Apple, I start to buy them up, right? I start to buy up Tesla now. Ooh, Tesla. What a call yesterday. I told you guys, this thing had a feeling that it could get hot. 323s was the level that I gave. Watch for that strong move through 323. And boy, oh boy, what a level. As you saw it go through that, make a trend line right below that, and then break it, and boom, rocketing in the afternoon was Tesla to the upside there. So definitely one to watch here as Tesla. It's been strong, and I don't think it's going to stop. Tesla's the type of name that when it starts to really run, it can keep on chugging along, guys. And I'm going to be looking to trade this too. I think that we got to continue to ride the wave. Right now, we are on straight euphoria, guys, and riding high. All right, guys, AMD is another one, right? And this is a momentum name. I've said this plenty of times here on the show, guys. AMD is the type of tech name you trade when tech is in momentum runs. When it's momentum running, there's just some reason the way that AMD trades, it continues on a nice momentum move. And you can see it here, really starting to chug along here. And I think that AMD is the one that is as close to good valuations as possible, because it hasn't done well in this whole AI environment. And now that it's put in this type of pattern, guys, and I need to talk to Michael Noss about this pattern. We need to delete everything here. We need to take a retrospective in on AMD. If we think about this on pure monthly charts, this is looking as good as a breakout as possible. I think that we could have our next big runner here in AMD. This looks great. The monthly chart looks awesome. And I gotta be honest. I didn't even see that monthly chart until just a second ago. I mean, I was looking at some daily charts for the momentum, but man, that's showing me a little bit stronger move than we might know. The key is going to be the volume, and look at the amount of volume that's come in on AMD. I say this is definitely one on the radar, guys. Keep it on the radar. Let's add that one to our watch list. Of course, we've had so many stocks that are hot. Well, let's add AMD to that list, that hot list, of course, and we'll keep it going here. We'll keep an eye on it. SMCI, another big hot name. We'll talk a little bit more about that name coming up. Let's keep it going, guys. Let's go to the disaster stock of the day. Let's go to AEO. AEO is the disaster stock of the day today, as it's getting the hit here. it's down towards $11 when it was just peaking at 13.19, getting a nice little lift yesterday, but coming down with preliminary earnings coming in here, down 15% after withdrawing full year guidance. Q1 revenue expected to fall 5% to 1.1 billion. Operating loss of 85 million due to heavy markdowns and inventory write-downs. What does that mean? It's a big look into the company. They're pretty much telling you that the only way that they were able to sell their product was to give heavy sales and inventory write-downs. So pretty much going in, giving into the clearance area and trying to get things out the door, to the point that they ended up just going to inventory write-downs. I mean, this just shows us more and more they're willing to take the negative quarter and look to see if it can bounce back on the next one. But I don't think it's going to be easy. And the sympathy in the weakness spread, right? It went to A&F, it went to Urban Urban Outfitters that I talk about all the time. I don't know why this stock is up like this. So this is another one that I would continue to watch to the upside, because I have no idea why this one's making a strong move, but it is. It is. I will say that. All right, we'll see what happens on some other action. Let's keep it going. Let's go to UNH, one of the stocks, the knives in the market. I know Michael Noss is getting after it. I don't know if I can. I know a lot of people that are taking great trades on this. I just don't know. For me, falling knives are just not my type of play. But like always, that's what the market's about. Find your flavor of ice cream and stick to it, man. United Health here falling 17% on Tuesday, the worst day in nearly a month. Yes, they nearly a month, and that's on a long downtrend, right? But the stock is coming down. I mean, when you think about it overall, if you look at the monthly chart, you're now back towards what, 21? Yeah, 21 prices. Maybe when you can get back towards, let's say, 260, at least the 200 monthly moving average I would be looking at. If it can get to there, right, this purple line here, I will take a look at that. I will take a look at it at 280. So we still got 40 points more to go in UNH before I even think about pulling the trigger. We'll see what happens on that one. Good morning to you, Steph. How we doing out there, traders? Let me know if the audio breaks up. Last time I was putting on the music, it kind of got a little weird, but let me know, guys. Let's keep it going. Let's go, team. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's keep it moving. UNH definitely still on the downside. Bank of America downgrading it to neutral and citing suspended 2025 guidance. Medicare margin uncertainty. And this is the number one thing I think they're giving you in insights into health. Medicare margin uncertainty. That's what's affecting healthcare. I don't think it's going to change. I think we continue to look for healthcare plans to take a heavy fall. If you take a look here, healthcare plans are really starting to drop. And they're not going to be the only one, UNH, that starts to drop here. I think we continue to watch to see more of these start to take a tumble. Take a look at it, Alliance Health. This is one that I actually like, and look how it's starting to tumble. And to me, this is not a good-looking pattern. This is a very bearish-looking pattern that looks like it's trying to break the next downside level. Why is this happening? It's all about that Medicare margin uncertainty. And it's not only in UNH. Bank of America's note giving us some insight here. Incoming CEO needs time for reset expectation. That's another thing mentioned in the note. Watch, of course, as this cast shadows on the entire managed care space. Eyes on CVS, Alliance Health, and Humana for potential ripple effects. IPO, of course, let's take a look there. We'll see what happens when this one comes out. I don't think I have anything for it just yet. It'll be eToro IPO priced at $52 a share, above the initial range at 46.50s. We'll see what happens when this IPO comes out. eToro, that will be one definitely taking a look. Listing on the NASDAQ today. We'll see what happens with that one. Keep an eye out. I'll let you guys know if I see it trading. Robinhood. Did you guys see Hood? Of course, yesterday, I got to say, this was my screwed up trade of the day, but it was actually a really good look at Hood. And Hood had a nice breakout there to 63s. It's right back up there to the 63s today, and it's given some good information. It, of course, talked about how funded accounts rose by 120,000 in April. Equity trading volume up 26%. Now that's what you want to see. Of course, with the market rally, these numbers will be looking good for brokers. That's why I think another one to keep an eye out for is IBKR. I think this could affect this one towards the upside also. Take a look at that chart. This is telling me more and more. Take a look for some brokers to see some uplift with increased volume. And that tells me to look for Goldman Sachs to kill it on the trading floor. I'm sure they're you know how Goldman Sachs does it, guys. We'll see what happens out there. Of course, Robinhood citing increased volatility, retail inflows tied to Trump tariff headlines in the headlines there. Key themes for today, guys. The tariff-driven optimism is still echoing. Of course, what has happened? Well, we got this continued rally, of course, and the continued rally has come from where? It's come from tech. A lot of this from tech now as we continue to see some run and some crypto. So keep your eyes on that, and caution in retail and healthcare sectors as we continue to see the demise of UNH. Let's go ahead. Let's bring on my man, Michael Noss, as we get towards the show. We'll take down the music. We'll kick it off, guys. It's time to have some fun. Let's get right to the trading action time. You guys out there, smash the like. It's Trade the Pool. Hugo wants 200, baby. You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
What up? What up? What up? Michael Noss in the house. What's going on, man?
Oh, what's happening? Just another day in paradise.
So what's with the black background? When did this happen? I don't know.
I don't know what glitched. I have no idea. I haven't had time to look at it, but
you're in the Matrix, my friend.
I kind of like it. I'm in the void, and yeah.
I feel like you're like in this like digital realm that I can't go into yet. Hendrix, come on, man. Let's go, man.
in the void. But
all right,
yeah,
my friend. Hey, the rocket ride continues, right? The rocket ride continues. You heard those numbers that I mentioned on Hood, and volumes up. Brokerages look like they could get some good earnings, right? Some good numbers, right? I mean, that might be a nice trade within itself, right? I mean,
it's funny. Retail nailed this. Retail did everything perfect in this market, and institutions got clapped. Like there was.
Could it be the first time, Michael? Could it be the first time that retail really stuffed it to the institutions?
Maybe retail's learning, because there was on April 5th, I think there was the largest inflow into VOO and these market funds in history. So everyone looked at that dip and said, I'm in. And those guys are loving life right now. 20% rip in a couple days.
We got to do some research, Michael, and find all those tweets of all those smart money managers that were getting those COTs, right? And looking into the retail data and seeing that retail was buying up the dip. And they were all trashing retail for doing it.
Yeah, they were getting mocked.
And now it's like, oh yeah, we'll take a look at it. But there's one guy that I always look at, and I look at nice permeable always to take a look. And if I ever see him scared, that's when I'll really run for the hills, so guys. But that's Ryan Dietrich. So shout out to that guy out there, man. Definitely, I think one of the best permeables out there, just because he always can find a way to bring the stats to look positive. And believe it or not, yes, that can take, maybe it's just his skill of looking into data. But overall, if he can find the positive in the market, that means there's something there, guys. There's something there. At some point, markets always come back, guys. I mean, there might be one day where we don't say this, but I mean, until then, what do? You play the odds, right? And if the odds are for the market to come back, well, hey, there you go. Let's keep it going. Let's take a look at the action.
right? And just a comment on that. If there's one day the markets don't come back, none of this matters, right? You better
yeah.
be growing potatoes, right?
Yeah, we've talked about it. Yeah, that's the
know,
world end. So
yeah,
money doesn't matter anymore at that point. So
yeah. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you have gold, doesn't matter if you have Bitcoin, doesn't matter if you have anything. If the markets die, then you're toast, right? So the
yeah.
people always hoping for the end of the world. I shake my head at, because they're probably going to be the first to get eaten when we're all eating each other. So, but yeah, just another solid gap up here in the market, right? We're
Another solid
well,
gap up.
farting around the pre-market range. Not a whole lot going on there. We were a little bit lower earlier. We were a little bit higher earlier. Overall, not too much. Just going back to candles here.
Are we?
Yeah, not too much going on. We're like kind of smack dab in the middle of that pre-market range. So we're just waiting, right? And in the short term, we're obviously overextended, right? You don't need to be a technician to say, you move 20% up in pretty much a straight line with no downtick. There has to be some sort of rest or consolidation for at least a few days at some point. So is today the day? I don't know. I'm not going to bet on it, right? I'm going to continue to bet that we're going to just absolutely rip the face off of everything. But for some trades, right, I'm just looking at some stuff that may be a little overextended, right? So SMCI, this one always still makes me nervous, but we had insane gap up here in SMCI. So I'm just looking to fade that gap off the open. I did buy a little UNH yesterday on the close, so that's doing well, but this is it's up 5%. But this is a bit of a longer term position, right? I didn't put the whole thing I wanted to buy in, but I did a tweet and said, right, at some point, this is going to be the buy of the century. And we talked about that yesterday as well, right? Down a cut in half or more than cut in half from its highs. And one of the largest companies out there, one of the largest Dow components out there, they're not going anywhere, right? So at some point, this is a great discount. So I put in about 1/3 what I want to. So I kind of hope it goes lower. I'll wait a week or so and then put in a little bit more, because right, even if we get a bounce back into like the 450, it's like a 40% gain. Like that would be an amazing gain. But yeah, a little bit of that as well. And then just Nvidia, this AUR gapping down pretty big. So it's Groundhog Day. I'm looking to fade the gaps in either direction.
Why are you messing with AUR?
It's gap down quite a bit. What's
No, I'm just messing with you, man.
15-20% down. So looking to see if we can get a little bit.
Yeah. The key here is the earnings weren't the best, and I think that you got to understand. And I was telling you guys, AUR was pitching like advertising like crazy. It's a good sign. At the end of the day, it's still not there for the big move. The thing that needs to happen, guys, is that they did accomplish some good testing, but testing is not what's going to get the bottom line moved, right? So now you need to see how can they sell the technology of the truck. And then what you want to see is major fleets picking this up. So if you're looking at this story, focus on that. Downturn could be coming in. $5 coming into play soon. We'll see. Maybe 5 through 5.
525 at its low in the post market. Yeah. So this looks like something that I may have missed the boat on, but we'll see. Yeah, just fading gaps, not a lot standing out. That's interesting to me. So it's going to be another one of those days that I'm stalking the market more than anything. Because like we talked about when we were on the way down, when the market's volatile, even if it's volatile to the upside, everything becomes correlated, right? I read that it was the highest breadth day ever on this day right here. So the most stocks participated in this move. So like we talked about, it's one of those that if you're holding a stock that's not participating in this rally, you might be holding the wrong stock. It might be time to take a look at it and say, okay, everything else is ripping. Everything else is pretty much year to date green at this point. What's my stock wrong? So it's one thing if this was just being caused by, even when it was just, I remember the whole it's only 7 stock crowd screaming and yelling in 2020, was that 4? And the market can't go up anymore because it's only 7 stocks. But even that was enough. But in this case, it's not. In this case, it's everybody. Everybody's moving with this rally. So that makes it a little bit harder from a day trading point of view. It just means that everything is getting very correlated right now. But so it means maybe we spend a little bit more time looking at the Qs, a little more time looking at UVXY, a little more time looking at those type of names, right? Indeed, jumps on this thing.
Man,
Yeah, we'll rip there in AMD.
this AEVA man still has not gone away, dude. I don't know how. We should have traded this one, Michael. That was
Yeah.
a crazy trend, man.
2 to 14.
We brought that stock up on for the $8 break. We're on 5.8. That's when we first started watching this stock here. And we've been
Nice.
I just been looking at this stock every day, just continuing to just climb.
Well, important to note, right? A lot of these they have their spike and then they just crash back down. So this is why things like bull flags work really well, because it just shows you that every time they tried to sell this one down, the buyer came in. So that second break, that would have been the move, right? Because it's proved to you at that point that whatever fundamental switch here that happened on earnings right here, people like, right? And then they're not selling it the way they were all the way down, right? This was what, $100 every time it bounced before, so it came in at a lower price. As soon as we had this consolidation right here, I think it tells you that's a little bit of a change in the way the market's looking at this stock and saying, well, now let's buy it on dips instead of sell it on rips. So yeah, overextended now, not something I'd take right now, but maybe long term, this is a nice rounded bottom. This whatever this thing is found its low for at least a little while.
I can run through some setups here if you're done with yours.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll jump to it here. I'm just going through my watch list that I've created lately, right? And I've had now 33 names in this watch list, and they're pretty strong names, man. But I want to look for setups now, and I want to look for, like Michael said, there's some setups that are really hard on the day trading side now because they're just so far extended, right? So what can I look for? Stocks that are bunched up here, stocks that have some tight consolidation, right? That could maybe do the breakout move today versus the other stocks that have already broken out, right? So like a stock like Mara, look at this 3-day bunch, right? So we've had a nice breakout first. It's consolidated now, a couple of days to the side. It hasn't broken through the support right here. This looks good. Mara, this would put all the miners on the radar for me. So Clean Spark, it looks very similar, right? Hut has already been kind of continuing to push. This one not bunching up, so more the strength already. Riot, very similar bunch up move, right? Let's see if these miners can really get going here. We got Coin already rocket move, right? I think this could pull back today a little bit there. Hood, good news there. That's all strong too. Really good takeoff there. So let's see if some other ones can get running there in that space. The quantum names were pretty tough yesterday. I got stopped out an ion key plenty of times yesterday trying to get this kind of breakout through the 35, but it's still bunched up, right? If it could break out, I think I'm going to do it more of a show me move, like give me already a strong move, show me like, let's say a 5% move out the gates, break 35, and then that's not a bad one to watch. QUBT would be a break of this like 950. So there's good moves that could be set up there. I like stocks like this that are at least a little closer towards the bottom than, let's say, when you're getting into it's like, even a HIMS. At this point, I think HIMS could be a short today, just because it's getting to a point where it's just so far extended from the 9. And every time that it extended from the 9, it could come back down. You're seeing it also, Michael, as
yeah. Well, I'm looking at it for the VWAP fade strategy. It's a little bit below VWAP already, so I hope it bounces a bit. But yeah, I'm with you there. Even though I'm long it, it's like we talked about yesterday. I own a bunch from 40 in like a swing trading account, but yeah, it's one of those. I would love to be able to get some intraday shorts on it. Maybe it pulls back a bit, and then flip out to the other side. That'd be great.
I tried to swing it. I had to cut my loss this morning. I didn't want to risk too much if it broke the kind of the 66 on the upside. But I tried a small swing with the day trade account, 85 shares, right? It wasn't too bad of a size there. It took about a $61 haircut for it. But I still think it could drop though. And I think it's just one of those that is too extended, right? There's some that are too extended away. Palantir is one of those that I think could still give a little bit more gas. maybe the 3-day advancing shoulders look. So that could still gas up and maybe get towards 135 today. I don't know, man. This thing already did the cup and handle, right? So you guys see that cup, right? This is the handle. It's on the handle. It's on the breakout, guys. So cup and handle looking good there on Palantir as that continues to go. I wouldn't mess with that one for sure. Tempest, man. Oh, it don't stop. It don't stop. And this is in an area that is not even sexy right now. We're talking healthcare. And this is making that move, right? Well, this just shows you that I think AI in healthcare and certain ones could be coming into play. Tempest is just on a move, man. And Nancy doesn't lose. That's all I'll say.
The goat.
Nancy doesn't lose, man. I'm just mad that I don't have an investment in Tempest, like an actual like position at 50 and just sitting on it now. Because this is how this stock is looking like, right? And I think that we're going to really find out what AI, real AI, is in the next 3 months, guys. I think that it's big to watch for that. What real AI is, like what the next move in AI is. I think that's why you just talked about it. AMD is definitely. I think this could be big. Michael, I wanted to show you this on the monthly. What do you think about this monthly chart? I mean, this monthly chart looks.
It's one. Yeah, it looks great, and it's a nice little breakout. And just from a kind of fundamental point of view, that if semis are going to move at some point, you have to believe that AMD is looking to make AI exclusive chips. Like they have to be trying to catch up with Nvidia, and Nvidia is like at capacity for the amount of things they could build. So I think there's room for another company to come in there and help them out.
And I can tell you from the big tech heads, this was the #1 pitch stock at the beginning of the year. In January, this was one of the #1 pitch stocks. So this is what I wanted to do. So I looked at that and then I said like this, okay, that's a lot of volume lately, man. That's a lot of volume. And if you look at AMD, we've really come down from volume, right? So what I want to see is, can this trend actually change in the volume, right? If we can get this trend to change with a big move, this could be an NVIDIA style move, right? I mean, and you got to start thinking about that because there's still going to be investors that are looking for that style of move, right? Where's the next NVIDIA style move? Where's the next Palantir? We've talked about this, right, Michael? We've been talking about these trend kind of following runs where it's just a monster trend run. I think you got to be looking at those plays. AMD, I think, does fall in that category just for the pure amount of eyes looking at it. And then by the time you look at it, it could be long gone from here, right? 100, it hung out at 100 and underneath 100 for a long time. Might never come back to 100.
No, it's if semis are going to continue, there's going to have to be more people that build semis. And even just from here to all-time highs, let's ignore a lot of people. They're seeing these stocks hitting all-time highs and they're saying, well, they're overextended, it's time to short them. That's generally not how it works, right? Stocks that break all-time highs, right, generally speaking, are that you want to buy the all-time highs, not sell them. But even from here just to all-time highs, it's like a 90% return. Yeah. So then if it gets through all-time highs and makes another leg higher from there, you're talking maybe a double or at least a double, a triple, maybe even more. So that's why I like a lot of these stocks. So like when you mentioned Palantir. So again, full disclosure, I own Palantir, right? I bought it in like the 60s. Just because the system said to. I look at that, and one common thing that we do as technicians is we look for fib extensions outside of that range, and just a slight 61 fib extension, which basically just means just another leg higher, nothing crazy, but just another leg higher from the most recent pullback. That gets us to 160 on Palantir. So that's a pretty easy and sustainable target for it. So that's what I think we got to start looking at with some of these moves that did much better during the tariff tantrum. Is what is the next extension move from that? And same with Netflix. So if AMD is going to be one of those, let's do an extension on that. I think it's going to be an insane number. So let's not get anyone too super hyped. But
the crazy part is that's already on big move, man.
The technical, that same 61.8 fib extension for AMD puts us at $325, right? And again, this is a very common way. So like, let's go, just for people who don't know, let's go right here on AMD. Let's say, okay, if it breaks, we're back in, I don't know when. Let's say, hey, it's going to break. If it breaks all-time highs, I want to buy this. And what do I target, right? Because as we're getting to all-time highs, you never know what to target. Well, that's a decent target for that move. Or for the big move, and all you're basically doing is saying, I think that this move is going to be retraced plus about 2/3 of the move. That's all this 1.61 is saying, is that this move is going to retrace, and then it's going to add another 2/3 of whatever the pullback is. And we got right there on the last time this one bounced. So this again is just something, because as a technician, when things are breaking all-time highs, it's like, how do I set targets? There's no price memory, there's no support resistance, there's none of that going on. So all I'm doing here is on AMD saying, if this move is retraced and then we add just another third of whatever this move was to the high, yeah, that's 350. So that's a triple almost from here. 161% gain, which will be great. Again, we're not saying it's going to happen. No one knows for sure, but that's just what we're looking at. So when it comes to Palantir, same thing. If I'm just saying, okay, I think this move is going to completely retrace, which it did, and then it's just going to tack on another third of whatever this move was. That's 130, right? You look at Netflix. I think this one's actually already hit that target, but this is again just how, because I get this question a lot, is saying, hey, as a technician, when something's hitting a new all-time high, how do you set a target? This is a pretty easy target to set. I've just seen it happen a bunch. This is something I took from my buddy JC at All Star, and he's been doing it for ages. So it's what, 1,200 for Netflix. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to do that. So then if we look at the SPY, which is the obvious question that I'm sure someone's going to ask, is that target gets us up to 700. And man, would everyone be mad if the SPY got to 700, which would just be hilarious, because I think that will then probably happen. So that's again how we're targeting new highs, because how else, right? It's one of those I'd love to see. So we did the same thing during the last bear market, saying, hey, if this move gets retraced, if you bought the new all-time high right here on the SPY, right, your target is 618, it would be right here as well, right? So again, not going to be perfect, just like anything, but I've just not found a better way to target all-time highs when they happen. So
Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll see if we get there on the straight run, right? And that's one thing that I'm starting to get a little bit weary of. I think that we're starting to get a little too kind of money hungry, greed starting to come into play. Somebody's going to get their face stuffed.
yeah, and again, we're obviously in the short run, we're overextended. I'm interested to see.
Yeah.
at
We're
the
talking
end
on
of
the
the
day
week.
trade side, right? Day trade side. We're still going to be in
Yeah.
a positive run when we get that pullback, but how wicked will that pullback be? That's what I'm worried about.
Well, what I'm interested in is when the COT data comes in, right? Because
Oh yeah.
because we, again, sentiment, you can do whatever you want with sentiment, but this is actually showing where people are positioning, and no one's very long through here right now. You can just see it, right? They have to show you that. So they're not super long in this moment. Last time we had people that long was obviously right at the top. That's usually what happens right here. So we are basically net flat across a lot of different things. Now, this COT data is going to be a little bit old. It only updates on the weekend. So next week we'll be able to look at this as well. But again, the beauty of this is you can't hide from this number, right? This isn't something that can be messed with or changed or whatever. If you're not reporting your holdings and you're a large speculator, you go to jail. So this is a pure number of what's happening in the market. So talking heads can say whatever they want, but everyone was selling into this move. We're focusing here. I'll actually just take off the other line, put the right. People were Oops, I did it the other way. Let's take off the red line. Right, so this is the large traders, right? So this is basically, again, I just do a little explanation for those who don't know. Commitment of traders, basically, if you are a large institution, you have to report your holdings in the futures markets. So this is the futures markets, again, overlaid with the S&P 500. Of course, the large traders are usually wrong. So, they were the most long they've been in a long time right here. And then the market collapsed. And now they are net short and still net short. As of Monday, everybody was net short the market. So on next Monday, we'll have this updated and we'll see if everybody is still net short or not very long. We're gonna have a bad time, right? So that's why a lot of people are saying there's a short squeeze going on right now, because again, the average large trader has been shorting into this rally, not covering into this rally, and those people are going to get blown out. So this is why I say at the end of the day, it's all about positioning. Right? It's 100% a positioning game. When these guys become net short, you generally want to start buying. When they become very, very long, you want to start getting a little bit worried. On average, right? That they have their day just like anyone else. But and yeah, right now they're net short. So will be interesting to see if we get a short pop. Someone mentioned the dollar. Dollar had nice rip recently here. So this, I think, is probably the most hilarious chart in the market. This is just the dollar versus a basket of other currencies. So this is basically the dollar versus the world. And you had a little bit of a rip higher out of this base that everyone, every technician in the world's watching. And then we sell back off, and then we get under this base, and then we rip back up into it. So anybody who's been trying to buy the breakout of this base or short the breakdown of this base is having a really, really hard time. And again, just hilarious.
So two stocks to mention yesterday that did really well that I had a big eye for: ARM and Tesla. Woof. What moves on both of those guys? All right, Hims out the gates. Let's see if we can knock it down, guys. Let's see if we can knock it down. I'm ready for it.
AUR is triggering here in the pre-market. I might actually just grab it. Well, I heard the British man yell, so I am in it in the personal account here. You can see the green arrow just popping up here. So your stop is the low of the day, and my target is this kind of 675-ish. Again, just don't know what this company does. Don't know what happened, but bad earnings. And then ever since then, they've been trying to hold a support and then buying above VWAP. So AUR is something that I own a little bit of now and looking to see if it gets this high. Again, stop the low of the day. So again, I keep forgetting people love when I draw these out. It's a good just visual way to do it. So this ends up being like a 2.8 hour trade. But again, this 2-day VWAP will move lower as time goes on. So, let's say I get, 650. That's still a 2-hour play. So I'll take that all day long.
All right, guys, we're getting ready for the open here. It's 9:27. Get ready to rock and roll, guys, as we start to see some stocks come down already. I'm looking for Hims on the cut down here. It's already dropping, but I don't want to jump too fast, too much here.
Don't forget that HIMZ.
Look at that. Hims just hit my indicator already for the area that I was looking for. It was a cut towards like 53.81s. It's already cutting there on the bid, the 53.50s. It's trying to get me to chase it. Let's see if we can get a bounce out the gates, but it is flushing here pretty fast here. Market's not even open yet, and it's already getting the hit. So we'll see what happens. My idea was to look for that 54.25 break, and then maybe look to see if out the gates we jump towards like 56. We can reject around like 56. It'll really look good because it'll give it the chance for the bulls to get long and then to get hit, right? So looking towards a trade like something like where it goes like this and then comes back down, right? So then that would give it the what? That would give it the 3 look, right? So you can see here how there's like this resistance that could come into play, right? So that's what I'm looking for. Can you come back into that spot here and then come down? That would be the better trade for me than just a quick flush down here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, SMCI is one that I'm really looking to fade just because
I'm with you, man, but I can't touch it either way. I told traders that I wouldn't touch it, but I can't blame you for doing it, man. I'm with you on the fade.
Yeah, it's just well, and you've got SMCX too, so you can really get some
Oh
juice.
yeah.
And again, it's Groundhog Day. This is the system that I've back tested now. I have forward tested. I have automated in my own personal account,
Yeah.
so the money I feed the children with is now trading this strategy. And again, just up too much and come down just a little bit. Right, and if
Yeah.
SMCX gets to 35, I'm a super happy camper. That's where the 2-day VWAP's sitting at.
Yeah, man. That looks great, man. I like the trade. It looks good and definitely extended. It's in an important area here. It's towards the 50. 50 is a big resistance. I like it. I like it. And
Yeah,
then at the end of the day, this thing could be an overnight zero, right? And then Michael
yeah.
would be really happy. Be like all those guys.
Well, yeah, this is a day trade, so I'm not going to be holding it that long. But I agree that this is again a very simple rule I have is if the DOJ comes a knocking, I'm not I'm not holding your stock overnight. I just won't do it. The risk is just too high because even if you're in the right, um, they can shut you down for 6 months while they investigate, and then it turns out goes, oh no, you're fine, you're right. You didn't do anything wrong. It's like yeah, but still lost it all, right? So.
BTCS is a small stock that had an alert on for a move above 223s. We'll see if this thing can get moving. Just want to give
There's the open.
Steph one of the stocks to look at. BTCS. It's a Bitcoin name out there. We'll see what happens. Looking at HIMS out the gates here, already getting the cut down. I might go after it here, but I'm still looking for the little bounce back. Let's see if we can get one. Not seeing it right now. The spread's a little wide too, right? So I want to wait for a second here for that spread to tighten up. But I'm on HMZ. I might just have to go for the actual stock. The spread's a little tighter, guys. That's one thing that I'll say.
Yeah, SMCI is trying here to
See if I can get short at 66.
break down just a little bit.
All right, I'm looking at HIMS, guys. We'll see if I can get this short here. Just rejected VWAP. That looks good there. There it goes. Look at that, guys. First wash on that 64. Missed that entry for the VWAP flush now. I'm going to look for like 63.50s here. But it is flushing here fast. Pony, also one that I was looking to short. I might be able to get after that one here. Let me grab that one a little bit here. I'm looking for a little comeback on Pony, but this one's dropping fast, guys. This one had a fire on the car. So this one's dropping fast, guys. Let's see if we can get a bounce on this thing.
Oh yeah, that was the Chinese guy, wasn't it? Chinese. No.
No, it's an autonomous that Uber's trying. I don't know if it's Chinese or not, but I know it's an autonomous that Uber's trying out, and it had a fire in it. So I would love to see a bounce back here to 1850s or above, and I could get short on it. But it is just dropping fast, dropping like a tank.
Yeah, usually when they're doing that, they're not giving you. Not giving you a
SMR
chance
doing
to
really
get in.
well to the upside. The nuclear stocks continuing. How's the NNE doing there? All right, recovering right back up, right back through the 29. So that's looking good. And Pony continuing on the downside. Palantir back to the upside. HIMS at 64.20s. So I'm looking around at some different names out there. HIMS is back up here towards the VWAP. We'll look to see if it rejects VWAP. This actually looks interesting here for me.
Nvidia is struggling here around VWAP as well, so I'm watching this guy for a potential short. The first trade of the day. That AUR is ripping, so I am almost out of that already. I just show you guys here. Again, this was the trade. I'm targeting the 2-day VWAP, but I certainly won't lose on it now. Right? We're already up, 2 times, 1.5 times our risk. So I'm probably going to chicken out here in a second and take half the position off, even though I should be just holding for the 2-day VWAP and then watching NVDA as well. It painted the blue line alert, but I'm just giving some time because the market here is not dying. Right? It's just hanging out in this range. So yeah, so NVIDIA is the next one to watch, and I'll take NVDL with that. But if you look at my alert log here, right, this is the these are the only two that have come through so far. So I took the AUR and I held off on the NVIDIA short for now anyway.
Short on HIMS here for a little bit. I'm going to try to get this off the 66 level and short here at 65.31. Let's see if we can get this to come right back down here. We can try to short into the resistance here. It did break above the trend line a little bit. You can see that trend line. So let's see if it can come right back down. This is just a kind of a bull trap here. So looking for a bull trap entry here. That looks good there. That looks great here, guys.
Yeah, the Qs are nearing pre-market or through pre-market high, and the SPY is not yet. So the SPY is certainly lagging here. So this is definitely a big cap tech kind of rally. And then I just checked on the small caps. Why do you even bother checking on this? Well, of course, the small caps aren't doing anything. But yeah, Qs are just ripping. SPY is looking to catch up, getting close to the pre-market high. But yeah, the Qs just blew through that same kind of pre-market level. That would explain why NVIDIA, right, AMD, everything is doing well. So AUR, I took that part off, but I'm trying to hold the rest for that. But that's what's happening here is we're doing it again. Here's the daily chart. So we broke yesterday's high and we broke the pre-market high, and we are on our way higher. And it's funny because Bitcoin isn't moving, just like yesterday, right? Bitcoin hasn't moved in like the last 4 or 5 days. You got to take out 2 of these days because the weekend. Actually, let's just look at IBIT. It's better 1 for 1. Yeah, Bitcoin's done pretty much nothing where the market has just been ripping. So this decoupling of Bitcoin and the market is continuing, and I love it. Right? I would love Bitcoin to move completely independent from the overall markets. That'd be amazing if that's going to happen.
All right, guys, I got a big position on. I'm trying to focus here. We'll see if I can get this to come down here. I got HIMS here. It's looking good if it breaks right back down here, but I got to hold in. Yesterday, I got a little too trigger happy. Let's see if I can get this to actually give me a nice win here. We'll find out.
You got HIMS or HIMS with a Z?
With an S. Better spread.
Yeah, definitely more liquid on the underlying there.
Yeah, that was my determining factor. I looked at both, but it just made sense to me more on the spread wise.
So we pierced the pre-market high here on the SPY, pulled back a little bit. Now we're making another shot there to see if we can get through that. So definitely some good action on the SPY, but we have to get through it. We're battling here pretty hard. And then the Qs, yeah, new highs. Pony's getting smoked.
Yeah, Pony looked good there off that rejection. I would love for it to try one more time to like 820s here, 1820s, and then come back down. But if it doesn't come there, I'm not going to short.
That thing's moving wild. Just looking at that candle.
1820s would be more of my entry here. I don't want to enter on this break here, but it looks like it's getting hammered. Look at that, guys. This is what happens. Oh, look at HIMS. There you go. Let's go, HIMS.
Nice trade. I haven't got my trigger yet. I'm trying to be a good boy, but I want to
hold here a little bit. I want to take like half off there in a second.
It's just one of those, the risk reward. Say even just gets halfway into yesterday's range. That's a 5-point move just to retrace half of yesterday's range. Not even anything crazy. The 2-day VWAP sitting at $61. So that's like a 4-point move if it gets to just 2-day VWAP, which is certainly not a lofty goal by any means.
There she goes. Looking good here, guys. Let me get a 64 break into the 63s. And I'll take half off here.
Yeah, the SPY now a tweezer top there at the pre-market highs. So it came up to the pre-market high twice on these 2-minute candles. Those who don't know, tweezer top's just this guy where you got 2 topping tails in the same area back to back. Just showing there's some selling going on there, some profit taking at pre-market highs. So that should cause hymns and the rest of them to go. Now, if I get my blue arrow alert, I'll get triggered. I'll hear the British man yell at me for the short that's getting taken place here. Cannot wait for this kind of automation on all of the accounts. Will be fantastic.
No profit just yet, guys. Hanging in here. It looks weak, so I'm trying to hold in. It's one of those where I got the move really like red here, so I'm trying to hold in, see if I could get a breakdown. It would give me a really big reward. So let's see if I can hang in here.
It's funny, you're looking to exit and I'm looking to enter, which again just shows there's many different ways to skin the cat.
Yeah, like I could have took an exit there, right? And then look to maybe re-enter. That's where a lot of times I feel like as a like kind of day trader, sometimes you got to take it, right? And just take the cash and see if you can get back in. But like let's say like on coin yesterday, it never gave me the chance, right? So maybe
Mhm.
it's the recency bias of the trade that's keeping me from taking the cash right here at 64. But it looks like I got a good trade picked here. It's a stock that I wanted in pre-market, and sometimes when you execute well, one of the things that we talked about yesterday, you have to be able to put on risk when you think you got it right. And it's part of the game, right? It's just part of the game.
So there's hymns. So I heard the British man yell at me. So I'm now short hymns with a stop there at highs. High of the day, and again, the target, the 2-day VWAP is currently 61.38. So that's where it would have put the order. Again, I have to still, it's the only unautomated thing that I have going on here. So I've got to kind of manually adjust those orders.
Starting to break on the MACD to the downside, so that's a good sign. I would love for it to test 63, go to try to make another bottom there, and then see what happens. Let's see if it can go and break 64 here. Back above VWAP is where I'd be a little bit concerned. That's back above 64.50s. That's just me here on my side of the trade because I'm at 65.17. Break of 64 is what we want to see. It's hit it 3 times here. Let's go. 4 times to the charm. Let's go. 64, 64.18 hit there. Come on. Come on. Break it. Break it, Hims. Market needs to help us.
So yeah, so these are the alerts I've gotten so far today. Right, I got AUR still in this one. Right, I won't lose on it now, but targeting. You can see how the 2-day VWAP's coming down. The target gets reduced to like 660, so I got to go do that on my system. NVDL, I got the first alert and I skipped the second alert. I may take, and then hymns here. And then these ones are ones we'll chat about later. These new alerts. These are in prep for more automated trading. Something again I'm doing on my personal side of things, but I want to do everywhere because I want to automate everything.
All right, guys, just short some ETHU here. Looking for that to start breaking the support, see if it can break 65 and really go here. Back through 65.50s is a concern. I have a stop towards that 65.50s. Let's see if this can go right back through 65. And if it can get really through there, I think we could see a little decline. The key is going to be on the market too. I think maybe crypto can lead a little bit. I talked about that, so I'm going for it.
So there's SMCX. So SMCI breaking VWAP. I'm going to give this another couple seconds just because you can see it broke and then immediately started rallying here on the next candle.
Yep.
So I'm just going to probably put a stop limit at 45.50 on SMCX to see if it turns around, breaks down, stop the high of the day, target 2-day VWAP, and that's like a 2.5 hour kind of trade, right? We got someone here fading Shopify. Oh man, that's our only good company up here in Canada. Leave it alone. We only get one tech company at a time. Right now, it's Shopify. Yeah,
Look at
good.
the duster, man. Look at the duster. Oh, I missed that pull back out the gates. Really nice move right back up. Dusty dust, man. This looks good. Good daily breakout.
Yeah, I still have my GDXD. I still
Look
have
at
that
ARM.
alongside.
Oh, I missed that one today. Look at this one. I've been talking about the
Mhm.
daily setup being so pretty, guys. And then look at the daily setup yesterday. Finally gets through that 125. Today, breakout move to 134. That's a nice 10 points.
Okay, so I got triggered in SMCX there. Just FYI, short stop high of the day, targeting 2-day VWAP, Groundhog Day. Right? And I think it's good to notice too that every day for me it's the same thing, and that's the deal with being a systematic trader. So you just have you don't think that much. It's just the system says to do it, you do it, and you spend most of your time thinking about the new system. So.
Good short there on ETHU, guys. Look at that move. Oh, go, 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 go. Let's go. Let's go,
Ethereum?
Ethereum. Let's go, Ethereum. Keep breaking down here. Let's go. Let's go. Trying to cash them here. Let's see if I can break down 64 and just cash it on a scalp action here. Let's go. That's looking great. Great move on that. I already have the stop break even, guys. I added to that as it was breaking down. It was a perfect add there through. Got a 64.82 add there. It broke down to 64 in almost an instant here. Let's see if we can keep going. I'm taking the target profit off. This looks weak here. I wanted to break 64 here. Let's go. Let's break 64. Both stocks going down pretty fast here. Q's going down pretty fast. I'm looking good here. I just got to hang in. This is where I got it right. Hold on, Mitch. Just relax. There's no risk on right now. We're in the green. Let's go.
Yeah, because we have just to get to pre-market low on the SPY, right? We've got a long way we could go here. We're getting close to 2-day VWAP on the SPY, so that could be something that holds us. I've got my HIM short. I've got my SMCX short. That's really going.
Yeah, HIMS is a little on the danger here, so I got to be careful with that. Don't want to get washed out on a squeeze here. Just got to be careful. I think it's going to test my entry 65.17, so it's okay to put some risk, but not an insane amount of risk. I'm going to put a stop here at 65.60s. Ooh, look at that action on HIMS. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Big down action there. I feel like adding, but I'm not going to get too pretty with it, guys. Let's keep it going. I got good entries right now. Just looking for this to keep it going here. Ethereum could break 64. We're looking really nice here.
Yeah, it's looking like a little bit of a pullback, and that's all we need here to make some money in the market. Nvidia triggered as well, so I'm going to short that. So short HIMS, Nvidia, and then
starting to move too. So just kind of helping traders out there, calling different plays, not the plays that I'm doing there too. Now starting to see that Palantir made a fake out to the upside too. That's breaking down pretty good here. Look at HIMS goes, guys, and look at ETHU. We're banking here, guys. We are cashing today, baby. Let's go ahead. Let's try to take off a little bit here on ETHU before I get too excited. There you go. At least put some cash in the bank. Look at HIMS go, though. HIMS is one we can let that baby ride here. If it can break the 64s, we could get to the 63s in a hurry here. 63.76 looking good here, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's take off a little bit here on HIMS as we break towards the 63s here. There you go, 60. Ooh, a little bounce there to the 64s. So we're going to take a little profit there just to make sure we got profits in here. Now we took some more profits, guys. So profits are out there, already up 122 on the day. Big positions on, up over $100 on one, 60 on one, and now can just let them work. Let them work. If the market's going to continue to drop, these could continue dropping all day long. So I'm going to hold these positions and look to start new ones that are above VWAP or by VWAP. So like SMR, right, by VWAP, right? This has actually had a huge day yesterday. Could come right back down, right? So I think it's already made the high of the day if we are kind of coming on a really hard pullback. So this is one name that could actually turn around that I was bullish on. So we'll see what happens here. Taking it easy with these positions. Want to see them start really in the green here, and we'll keep it going. Let's go. It's a good day here on Trade the Pool. This is what we call a nice little money rain type of day. Let it rain. Let it rain.
It's been so far so good, no complaints, and it's interesting. So the Qs I showed you guys broke yesterday's high. SPY didn't. So we got to yesterday's high, we rejected from it. So that's why I think we're getting a little bit of a pullback here, right? Just again, we talked about it this morning. This market's gotta have a little bit of a rest day at some point, and that day might be today, where we pull back into yesterday's range and we chill out there, because again, we moved 20% straight line. It doesn't surprise me that the market's gonna chill a little bit for a day.
Yeah,
day or
Sox
two anyway.
has taken off here, guys. Now towards 1144. That looking good there. SQQQs is one that I'm looking at. Right off this 24 doesn't look too bad. I would love a pullback to the VWAP here, but the Qs are dropping fast here, guys. VIX could be a play too because it's just been so depressed that it could shoot up with a little bit of a move. I'm not going to play it, but if you look at the daily, that looks like a little bit of a kind of a turn there, right? Turn potential there on the VXX. I'm just playing hymns and riding the ETHU. Look at those profits. Just keep going, guys. And that's that I took half off. Both of those would be up more than $200, $300. Let's keep it going. Let's go making some more money. Let's see where we can make some trades. What about other Ethereum names? Like, we don't need to do ATHU. We can double dip. We can go looking for like ETHE or something like that, guys. So I don't mind these guys. I feel like Ethereum has been on such a run that it's going to stuff somebody. All right, guys, what's going on out there? Shorting RGC yesterday would have been the crazy. Oh man, don't tell me. Don't tell me, Shock. Don't tell me.
I'm looking. Yeah, down
Oh,
$200 and something.
You guys know
Wow.
where you guys want to know where I got stopped out on this one? 450s. I shorted 400. I only gave myself 50 points. I needed to give myself another 100 points, and then I would have hung in there. It went to right to 550. So, hey, there you go. It doesn't mean that you can't trade these one share at a time, baby. Ooh, look at that rejection there on HIMS. It's looking good here, guys. If you can reject VWAP and just break through the 63s, we're looking good. But you know what's the great part about it now? It shouldn't get back through that VWAP, right? Like we already, and so now you kind of know. I'm not going to put my stop, but I know if it's back above VWAP to take the money. Even if I could be wrong, what you get is that squeeze effect to 65. I'm above 65, so I'm not that concerned, but you got to be ready to take the cash and run here.
Yeah, and I've been doing that's the same thing I've been doing with this strategy again after talking to Kenny about it. My particular strategy is you have a move down, like so I'm short SMCX. Had a nice push down. So now on a closing basis, and I'm looking at 2-minute candles, so a 2-minute candle close above VWAP, I'm going to get out anyway. So that really reduces your risk to almost a break-even trade at this point. And then if it breaks back down through VWAP, he's like, "We'll just take another shot," right? And that's something I have to get better at is taking those small hits and then kind of going back in.
All right, guys, HIM's coming for the stop here. It's at 65. It could hit me right here. We'll see if it does hit me. If it hits me, I'll look to reload up towards the 66 and above because the Qs are just bouncing. It doesn't mean that it ain't going to come right back down. Could just be a kind of a fake out to get some traders out here before the real wash. So I'm just keeping break even. My 65.18 is a great entry.
Yeah, I took partials on SMCI and HIMS and NVDL there, and then now I'm doing the same thing. So back above VWAP on all of them will be an exit, and net all of those will be profitable. And this AUR is just kind of chopping around, so I'm holding this one. SPY did a pretty nasty bounce there, came right down to almost the pre-market low, and then bounced there pretty hard. So we can take a look at that, right? So this was when all of our shorts were making money, got into the 2-day VWAP, bled a little bit below it. Now we're bouncing there. So would surprise me, right? We tested the pre-market highs. We broke the pre-market highs a bit, and then we sold. I would expect that we would at least go to the pre-market lows and see the liquidity down there, but certainly don't have to. And again, this could be a rest day, right? We got to go to the daily chart. We got to remember this is what the daily chart looks like. So yes, things are selling a little bit right now, but in the grand scheme of things, this is just the market taking a breather. So, it could come all the way down another 4 or 5 points, and it's nowhere near yesterday's low. So, you have to always put these things in context, right? If you spend too much time focused on the short term, you think that the market's collapsing right now, but it is still in the high end of yesterday's range. So there's a big way to go there for sure.
AEVA doing a little bit of a breakdown. That could be a good short up here, man. That could be a swing short off the 15. What? That thing hasn't even.
AEV.
That thing is
Swing short. That's a bold move, my friend. It's one of those things that probably would work grete, but you could wake up and see it at 30, and I don't think that'd surprise anyone.
I don't know about 30.
We've seen crazier things happen.
Hey, I just feel like it's definitely on that time. There's the cues right back down, guys. So
Yeah.
might have been able to get through that. Coin looks like a good short here.
So yeah, everything on daily charts look very overextended. So this feels like a potential profit taking moment for. You got to remember, there's probably a lot of bulls out there that bought this market and just it ripped 20% in pretty much a straight line. Those people are going to be feeding the ducks a bit, right? They're going to be taking some profits. So the shorts might be trying to double down to see if they can get out at a decent price. Again, so we always zoom out. We realize that even though the market's pulled back a little bit here off the open, hasn't pulled back that much. Even if you look at yesterday's range, we're not even halfway through yesterday's range, so we got to be careful. Could go a lot lower and still be a really bullish day.
All right, guys, I'm going to take a little trade here. I went half sized or even lower than half sized just to give myself the space here, to give myself a little room on like $40 of risk. I'm shorting coin here. So I'm short coin off of that VWAP rejection to go back higher on a stock that had so much like lift, right? Like it was a big lift. And then it just peaked through the high and came right back down. So it could be a little bit of a peaking candle right there. If it's back to the 260s, it's strong anyways. So I think this is one of those where I'm getting short here. We'll see what happens to the market if it comes ripping right back. But this gives me an ability to just risk towards the 259.14 and see if we just get this big down day.
Yeah, and big down day. I think
Ooh,
we definitely
look at
need.
HIMS. I like this move on HIMS.
I'm with you.
It looks good, man. I gotta hang in there. I have my break even stop, and I'm just not touching it, man. I've already taken profits.
SMCX is bleeding, which is perfect. That's probably the best one out there. NVDL doing well again. Everything is NVDL new lows of the day. Everything's working well here. AUR, I'm still just the fact that it's holding when the market. I'll go through and show these. The fact that my AUR is holding here while the market is selling, that is obviously super interesting, right? So I want to hold on to that. I'll probably just raise my stop below VWAP right here, which would be the second half of that being in a winner. I took probably half off, I think around the 640 area right here when it opened up right off the bat, and then targeting the 2-day VWAP. Other than that, we got SMCX. I drew all these out for you guys right here. NVDL, right, hitting new lows. All of these, the target is the 2-day VWAP if we can end up getting there. Yeah, so far so good. And here's the cues. Tried to bounce. Looks like that failed. A long way to go on the cues before we even get to pre-market lows and yesterday's low. So the fact that all of this is kind of all these stocks are giving it back, again, makes perfect sense. You look at all this. Look at this craziness kind of from here to here. And now it looks like, so we're up 28% from the lows from the cues. So we could fall 5% and no one would care. And we're not even down on the day on the cues.
Palantir, PTLU.
Right. So we're still up today on the cues. So that's important to keep in mind, right? Even though everything's giving it back, cues are up on the day. So again, there could be a longer way to drop and still no damage being done to the market. Right? So
yeah, I think that's exactly what we're going to see is it looks like a blimp, but I think definitely there's a lot of greed out there. And the market loves to hurt where it can hurt the most. And I think we're starting to get the most on the bull side. I think the euphoria and the price action is telling me that. And the dash for trash is definitely very strong right now.
Well, yeah, and it's one of those, right? Everybody in this market who's a bull right now is making tons of money. At what point do they sell some and take some profits? And that's what, again, what I think we're seeing
Yeah.
here. Because the Qs are still up today, right? And the SPY is still up today. The market is still doing well. It just failed at those pre-market highs because there's probably a lot of people who are waiting for those pre-market highs breaks. Say, hey, I'm going to feed the ducks a bit, right? My Palantir's doubled in the last month. Why wouldn't I take part of it off the table? My hymns has doubled in the last month. Why wouldn't I take a little bit of that off the table? SMCX was up like 30, or SMCI was up like 30% overnight. Why wouldn't I take some of that off the table? That's the premise of what I'm doing with fading these gaps is, SMCI is probably still going to be up on the day, regardless of what happens. It's going to be a great day from close to close. But, if it gaps up a little bit too much and those gaps are a little bit overextended, people come in and feed the ducks, right? And the Dow is still up on the day as well. So pretty much across the board, except small caps, because small caps can't ever seem to go up under any circumstance. But yeah, everything else is up still on the day, well above pre-market lows. So we got to look to see if the market turns, gets through VWAP again. That could have been just another little bit of a short squeeze, but we have to rest at some point. We just can't. I don't want to say can't, because we certainly could just go up every day until we break all-time highs. That I don't think would surprise anyone at this point. But right, at some point, you got to imagine the people that were down there buying those lows are going to take some profits, and that's going to cause us to rest just a little bit.
All right, guys, I'm thinking about adding to this Ethereum position here, as I already made some profits here. I got some profits to play with. Yeah, kind of like it here. I would love for it to go to 65s again. So I'm going to short 65 here. If I get hit on the limit, I'll add. If not, it'll just go in my direction. So it's not a bad thing, right? So we'll see what happens. Ethereum here, adding at the 60, trying to add at the 65 spot. It could still get to the 65.16. So maybe that's probably the area that maybe pull it to on the limit, but it's already kind of fading off of that. So I'll give it the chance, see if it goes to this VWAP. I have a different VWAP on my Trader Evolution. I don't know if you have your VWAP on that. It's a little different.
Yes.
Sometimes
the problem with this
a little different.
Well, I never know with
that.
something like
Good,
that is like, do you use the actual Ethereum because it's going to move with actual Ethereum? Do you use, right? And this is another perfect example. So Ethereum, if to get to yesterday's low on Ethereum, that's a 7% down move. So let's say Ethereum just pulls back a little bit here. You can still get 4 or 5%. And you're doing 2x Ethereum. So right, just a little tiny pullback, not even into yesterday's low, could be a 10% move on that guy. And that's what.
Let's go, Hims.
The scale I'm just trying to remind people of is that nothing is crashing. If stuff crashes, it's going to be an insane move. So yeah, Hims, say Hims fills half of yesterday's range. That sits us around $60 a share. That's a 5% down move. That's a crazy move for Hims, and that's only half of yesterday's move.
You see me, guys. I am loading the boat and taking my shot, right? Like you see, this is what I call. Sometimes you guys see me looking at the screen a lot. Sometimes you see me looking at my trades a lot. I'm gas pedal right now, gas pedal mode. Is it going to pay out? Only time will tell.
Yeah, SPY bounce, pretty significant bounce there on the SPY. So we need to see. Didn't challenge pre-market lows at all. Again, I would expect to see some amount of. Let's take a shot at pre-market lows here, especially after that down move. We broke pre-market highs and then failed. Be surprising not to at least again test the liquidity of pre-market lows. And same with Qs, right? Qs have a long way. $2 till pre-market lows. So yeah, Hims again feels like a profit taken rally. Everyone has made so much money on this for the long side. You got to hit the button, right? As someone who owns it, I am so incredibly tempted. Right, I own some from 41, and then in just a couple days, it's up that much. So everyone's probably feeling like me. You get a 50% up move in 5 days. You gotta, you gotta feed the ducks. You gotta hit the button. That looks like that's what's happening here across the board. So everyone's saying, "All right, that was a bit crazy. Let's pay ourselves a little bit, and then we'll wait for the next one.
Ethereum getting hit a little bit more here. I'm trying to add, guys. Coin looking good for that rejection. Also, if coin can reject here, it looks good here. I could add on coin, but I'm going for a bigger move on coin where it could get back towards, like, let's say 240s. If it gets back to 240s, I mean, I don't need to be big. I can be small and just let the kind of the numbers work, right? So keeping the risk small right now is, so with these other positions that I added, what did I do? I did really small positions, almost like swings, right? Because if we're going to get this big rotation turn really quickly, at least for the short term and the day trade, I want to be able to ride that momentum in a longer sense on the smaller positions, and the bigger positions take fast profits.
Yeah. Yeah, because if your bet is that it's going to be a down move on the day, well, that makes absolutely perfect sense because the Qs are up a quarter percent, right? So if the Qs go to flat or even turn red on the day, yeah, those positions could get pretty big here. I love this. My feeding the ducks analogy has always been the way it's been taught to me. Right? Is you throw a little bit out there. Your long IMs from 40 gets up to 60. You feed the ducks. You throw a couple shares out there and say, "Here you go, guys. You could buy this from me. I don't really care." It's interesting to see Ethereum moving down. Same with Solana moving down, and Bitcoin flat on the day. So Bitcoin just again showing us that it is the flight to safety on that side of things, right? It's the flight to safety on the crypto side.
My duck starts starving because I'm down 200 on my end. That is hilarious. Oh, C-Shock. All right, guys. What are you guys looking at out there, guys? How's the trading action? Anybody looking at the small cap land today, or is that just not even alive?
Well, yeah, that's what Steph this morning. I saw the comment saying there's not a lot out there, and we know if anyone's going to find
the only one I was watching, nothing there.
Yeah, if anyone's going to find, and we say this all the time, when the market gets, the big guys get interesting, the small cap world just dries up because I can trade my HIMZ and potentially make 10, 20%. Why would I trade my XYZ low float stock? So you see this kind of cyclicality of low floats being interesting, right? Where you have low floats are one of those things where people are interested in low floats when nothing's going on in the large cap world. Then they'll move over to the large cap world when nothing's happening in the low float world, and vice versa, right? So SPY's turning here. So that bounce looks like we're going to break the lows.
You got the ad in Ethereum. This is Ethereum chart.
Yep.
I'm trying my best to trade as well as I can today, guys, because you got to execute well, but I feel like I did it right? Because short here, profit take on the first move down, leg down, came back, hit the VWAP. Once I start rejecting, I put a limit out here, now getting hit. Now the trade going in my direction with the same shares that I took profit in, right? So
big reversal up on the SPY.
It's a whip.
Show people this is, I just said the SPY looked like it was going to break down. So this is a 2-minute chart. And I looked over, and then I looked over at Mitch's screen, and then we're back up here. So
So
stuck between the two VWAPs.
Let's show that one. The coin QQQ's wick there to the upside. Really quick move there.
Yeah, nice little pop. So I'm watching the VWAP on these things. So especially the Q, we're sitting there right now, just because I have a lot of shorts. So I may exit those and take the profits and have a good day if we're going to reclaim VWAP on the Qs, because we attempted to go red on the day, right? They tried to push us red and they just couldn't do it, except for, right, what we're talking about here, except for small caps. Small caps are just, right, the red-headed stepchild, just getting beat every single day. Yeah, so the Qs, it's very interesting here. We're holding this potential VWAP. If we close above this VWAP, which we are, I'm looking to exit some, right? So I have my SMCX. I'm going to take that off the table. I'm going to take my NVDL off the table as well. Just being a little cautious, right? Everything worked so great today. AUR, right? Still holding this one to the long side. But these shorts, I'm just going to take for now. And I'm going to call that a wicked wicket open. This, and it could be premature, but this just scared me because, right, we could go to like a 1 minute. Let's go to like a tick chart on this. Oh no, I can't do a tick chart because they want
About
more
to get
money.
stopped out in Palantir here in a second here. It feels like at least some cents away. Just mention it.
Right, so this is a 1 minute chart now. So you can see how fast we wick down there and bought up. That felt buy programmy, which again made me chicken out of all my shorts. So I don't know. We're probably gonna rip the new highs, but I am no longer short anything, and I only have the AUR trade. So
Stopped out in coin there, but I'm still hanging in on some, guys. I'm still hanging in on some.
So yeah, the fact that we tried to go red, failed miserably to go red on the day, and then bounced it, then that has me a little bit worried from the short end of things. We also got to remember too that we said it's got to rest. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to go down big. Could just be a couple sideways, right, down a little bit, up a little bit. Could be a little bit of a sideways move there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing for it to bounce. I think it's a good thing for it to bounce here. The key is a trend line approach here. Does it break the trend line approach? That's where I'm watching. That's above 518s. If we get above 518s, then I'll start to be a little bit more concerned. 518s, a trend line approach. We just tapped it. Now we're coming right back down. So what I'm looking for now is a clean sweep to 516 for the bulls to get hit here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, so we're flirting there around VWAP. We just did a wick to the other side of things where we pushed up and then pulled back a bit. Again, I
just added to my Ethereum short.
Yeah, I could have exited early, but you know what? I'm okay. I'm up. Every one of those trades was a decent little winner, so I will take that. China pauses export control measures against 28 U.S. entities for 90 days. I don't know what that means, but that sounds like a good thing. That's our boy Walter Bloomberg. China pauses unreliable entry list measures on. So I guess they're pausing imports from the U.S. to China. Like they're.
I think. I feel you.
I don't know. I don't understand.
Sometimes headlines, man. Sometimes headlines are tough.
Well, it's like this isn't something I pay attention to, so I'm just reading them, try to figure out what happened on that wick, and then Trump is talking positively about Boeing, so that's why I did this.
There you go. Good move there on Ethereum. Let's go, Ethereum. Q's losing altitude. Cash rising here, guys. Cash is rising. I'm taking a shot today, guys.
So this is interesting. This is what happens to your stock when the president says he's going to buy stuff. So Boeing did a nice little pop here, retracing most of that now. So this one might be one to put on your radar going forward because there's some news with Trump and Boeing there.
Woo! Ethereum got me feeling it, guys. That's how you know I'm too big.
Someone saying a short KO intraday. It's got this rainbow of death. I remember some traders I used to trade with would call it, where you have a lot of green candles on the way up and a lot of red candles on the way down. You obviously know if you're breaking today's high, you got to go. You got to remember though that Coca-Cola is going to move a little bit differently from the overall market, right? It's considered a flight to safety thing. So sometimes it'll go up when the market goes down, go down when the market goes up. So being short this is kind of like being long the market in a way. So you
at this point break even on Ethereum, just gotta let it go. I'm break even on both trades and looking forward to make a killing. Let's go. So look at that. You can see the cash on the bottom there, guys. 230 to 138. I'm feeling like it's just a matter of as long as the Qs don't break towards 519 here, I'm going to be looking good. This was that trend line approach that I talked about. So we could still go up here and shake a little bit more. So don't think it's just a fast flush. Needs to break the 516 like I talked about. 516 area is going to be big. When we go to that spot, see if we really crush through. That's what I'll be watching for if we're going to get this big down move. This is the scary, the test 3. It looks like it could be coming right here and coming right into the trend line. So it's okay to see that. The key is if it gets to like over here, 519, that's where you'll start to see some trades flip.
It's interesting. I don't like trading off headlines, but man, Qatar agrees to buy 160 Boeing aircraft, says the White House. So
Yeah, that's why he's bringing that news out, because everyone hit him on taking the Qatar plane.
yeah,
'Cause they're like, "Oh, I thought you were all about America, though."
yeah. So he probably gave him a panic call in the middle of the night. So the question is, what did he trade for them to do that? Because who wants to buy Boeing aircraft right now?
Dude, you don't remember? Literally paying off foreign officials right now is legal.
Yeah. So he probably called and said, "Listen, buy some planes. We'll make it worth your while on the other side, right? Make me look good. Buy
Dude,
some
why you
planes."
think the Saudi prince was like, "I love this guy"?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you gotta grease the palms. But this Boeing chart's kind of interesting to me. If we get back above VWAP, I might just take a speculative kind of shot here, really small. Because that was probably when the initial news hit right here, and now we're pulling back into it. So if we get back through VWAP here, I might take a little bit of a shot. But I'm watching the Qs, and we're back above VWAP again. So we're just flirting here. Consolidating again might be one of those that me and Mitch have been talking about a lot, where we make the real move in the afternoon.
Let's go, Hims. All I know is, guys, today I'm trying to walk with that money bag, baby. Let's go. I'm trying to take it here, guys. Let's see if I can take it. Come on, 250s. Hims. Let's go. Let's go, Qs. There you go, Qs. Qs, dude. Sometimes I actually see the Qs pretty well. Look at that. Look at that rejection. Guys, it's looking pretty right now. With this, look, oh my God. Eyes off. Look at the Ethereum. Ethereum's just moving here.
Almost.
Do you have a chart of Ethereum itself?
Yeah. I can show you here.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
So this
I
is
got you. I'll put you up.
This is what I talked about, right? So this is a nice little bull flag, but yeah, say it goes today and it wants to retest yesterday's low. It's still another 6% down from here to yesterday's low. Really puts things into perspective when, right, you're short and you're doing so well in the short. You look at the daily chart, you're like, it's really not, just a little downtick here, right? All
right, guys, gotta take some Ethereum profits. All right, I took a little bit there at 63.60s just to pay myself, right? I have a stop up there, but I have to give myself some cash, right? Some cash as I keep going. So now, no matter what, I'm going to be green on the day. This is the determining factor. Do I want to go for the big win or just take the money and run? Because it's still a great day if I take the money and run right here. It's $500 day. We're talking close to $1,000 day if I keep it running. So I just got to make determining factors there and then just keep it going, right? So what I will do is on Hims that I'm so far away, I think it's going to determine on the Qs. If the Qs get back above VWAP, that's going to be my sign to start being a little bit careful. If they can break through the 516, I'm pretty much golden.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah, Ethereum, this is what I was talking about, like this Ethereum chart
versus show me what's up, man.
Versus the Bitcoin chart. Right? Bitcoin is not even breaking down. So it shows that, hey, people are taking some profits there. Solana looks about the same as Ethereum, a little bit stronger, but selling off. But these things, just to get to the low of the range, they're still 5-6% down to go.
ETHU is right around the support, and that's kind of when it broke that support, I felt like it was a good area to take some profits. And so now it's kind of.
If we do an hourly chart, right? So this is an hourly chart of Ethereum. It's a big level here, right?
Exactly.
So we broke out of this level. Now we've pulled back to it. So I think you're right on that cover for at least a bunch, because just look at this. This is what, 2,500 on Ethereum. Massive resistance right here. Support a little bit earlier, back down to that now. So yeah, just a nice orderly pullback here on Ethereum. And yeah, the Qs are reversing again. So looks like we're, again, just flirting. Can't break away from VWAP either direction. So this is one of those times where this is what you got to look for a trade on the Qs, is what we're getting really tight here, right? Just this wedge is getting extremely, extremely tight. And at some point we got to break that wedge, right? At some point we're going to have to, we're just getting really tight here. No, who knows if it's going to be up? Who knows if it's going to be down? But right, we're getting tight for sure. And again, for me, the fact that we couldn't go red on the day, that's worrisome, because they tried to give a red day, a final red day after 4 days in a row of up moves. Give us one red day, and they seem to be failing there a little bit.
I'm just hanging in, bro. The cash is like too big right now for me to not hang in on this. The key, everything seems to be playing in. Now we need the big red bar, the bearish engulfing candle on the Qs. And it's the Qs. I love how you have them up, Mike, because really I think it's the Qs here, right? We're getting led by tech. Let's see if we get a takedown through tech. Look at Palantir's chart. That might actually be still a good short. It's gone nowhere, and it's just starting to break the support now. I got out of this trade, but the trade looks like a nice setup there. Are those triggers on your kind of strategy there on the Palantir?
Yeah, these would be short trades right here, and because of the big gap up, and it's
it just looks good.
If we came in, we retested 124, 125 on Palantir. That's still bullish action, right? So, again, all about know your time frame, because we are still up on the day.
Look at Ethereum. Look at Ethereum go, man. Oh, good Lord. Let's go, Ethereum.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens through this
all right, guys. I took another 50 off there. Another 50 off there on Ethereum just to cash in a little bit more. After this, it's just literally let it go.
Yeah.
Stop getting set here. Set it and forget it.
So, just a quick heat map look for the day. Most things are up, right? NVIDIA, tech services, retail, Tesla still up 2.5%, UNH up 3%. Financials are really kind of what's dragging us. Financial and health here, but that doesn't surprise us, right? Healthcare has been down a lot, but a lot of these other names are doing really well. Energy down, utilities, transportation. But this is why I'm focused so much on the Qs. If you take a look at tech and electric tech, we're good on the day, right? Some up, some down, but the big guys, the important ones, the size of these boxes are just the market cap. So they're the most impactful companies. They're nice and green. It's the little guys that are pulling down, with Intel down 4%. Poor Intel can't get going. Poor little Intel. Maybe someday. Ooh, look at that. I didn't even see this off the open. Intel just got obliterated right from the opening print. Everyone's like, we'll buy anyone. We'll buy AMD, we'll buy NVIDIA, we'll buy anyone who makes chips except Intel. Get back into your box. This looks like what's going to happen here. Just a hemorrhage.
Nice rejection on the Qs there, guys. Nice rejection there. Now I don't want it back to 517. This is a VWAP rejection play, where a stock goes above VWAP 3 times, rejects VWAP, and goes for the support break. Now we don't even want it to reclaim VWAP. If it does reclaim VWAP, the bullish momentum will pick up. So at this point, I'm just looking for breaks to 516 and for the cash to keep on stacking. Let's go. Almost 400 here for HIMS, almost 300 for ETHU. And that's with profit taking already of 227 with some losses today, guys, with some losses. So it's not like I've been, I'm just gas pedal on right now, trying to make money. All right, at this point, we'll take a look to see if the Qs get back above 517. That's the concern here, back above to the trend line. We'll see if it breaks through the 516. That's the real breakdown. Him starting to bounce a little bit here, so I'm watching that and maybe take some profits on that one.
Trade deals with Japan and South Korea.
Yeah, I'm going to cover a little bit on HIMS.
So that's the next. Again, I'm just looking at Walter Bloomberg just because it feels like right here on the market, it hasn't done anything now for almost an hour. So it's like we need that
back a little bit,
something to kind of shake us and have some type of move. We need something to occur, and now we're just consolidating and getting really, really tight here on the market. So that's why I'm looked at our boy Walter here just to see if there's anything going. He's talking about trade deals with Japan. I don't think there's really any good Japanese ADRs to play. Nintendo's like a pink sheet. There's a couple banks maybe, but South Korea, well, what do you trade? Samsung, Kia. I don't even know if those are listed, but they're getting very, very tight here on the Qs. Nothing's happened in a long time, just chopping above and below VWAP. So when we break, I think it's going to be pretty significant just because how tight we're getting right here. And we know that decreased volatility generally will lead to increased volatility and vice versa. And we're very much in this decreased volatility kind of standpoint, right? We have the Dow doing very well. We have everything except those poor small caps just doing great.
All right, guys. I think if we do get the breakdown move here, it's going to be interesting to scalp it. But I'm looking around to see what I do after I take this cash. If I do take the cash, and I got to be quick because you're going to have real quick decision times. My biggest thing is just to look to see if the Ethereum can keep crashing. I feel like that's the one that could really, really keep going because it's such a crazy move on the breakout to the upside. And as long as it keeps holding the 9 EMA on bounces, I'm kind of good. That's a momentum trade to the downside, right? It can even wick there, just not closing above the 9 EMA. That's one I got to hang in, right? If I go to HIMS, I think the same thing. Look how the 9 EMA is holding, telling me momentum trade down, right? And so I just have to just try to give myself sometimes things that we have as traders to tell ourselves where we can hang in. A good momentum indicator is a 9 EMA or an 8 EMA. I heard some traders like the 8. I like the 9 because the MACD bases the triggered line on the 9, right? And so like I like the 9 because of the way that the MACD was designed. So I stole it from that, right? And I just use it from that. That's why the MACD looks a lot like this, right? The yellow line here is an exponential 9 moving average, right?
Yeah, and in all intents and purposes, it's not going to be much different. But and the other thing that you're pointing out there, Mitch, is relative strength, relative weakness, right? I've talked about how the Qs for the last hour have done nothing, but HIMS is slowly selling off. Again, this feels like a little bit of a profit-taking move.
This is scary, though. This is what I told you. Got to be careful. The bears. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, so if your stock, when the Qs was doing nothing, was also doing nothing, then it's in line with the market. If your stock was going up when the Qs were doing nothing, then it's relatively strong. And if your stock was going down when the Qs were doing nothing, it's relatively weak. And you don't have to make it much harder than that when you're talking about relative strength, relative weakness, right? So HIMS, the fact, and Ethereum, the fact that it was bleeding when the Qs was just going sideways, you know, okay, you got some good relative weakness there. It means if the Qs sell off, you're probably in a good position. If the Qs bounce, then, you know, maybe they'll hold tight or not do too much. Yeah, so that's, again, what we're always looking for. So it's again, make it simple. Qs are doing nothing. What's going up? What's going down? I think that will show us.
The coin got me out, of course, on that bounce at 260. I lost like 30 or 40 on this, but it looks like a nice break if we can get the Qs to break here. Of course, this one had so many people piling in yesterday. I feel like it's the classic move to stuff them a little bit. So I think coin is an interesting one perspective just on that, right? I like the green yesterday off of the backs, and people are late to the party, try to join the party. And now that everyone's joined the party, they try to knock some entries out, right? Especially the people that traded yesterday in this range, right? When they did this breakout, all the traders that are in this range from like 256 to 260, they're now underwater. And if the trade cuts 255, trust me, they're going to start feeling that weight of 10 points or 5 points down, and they're going to start maybe triggering out, right? And so you get longs to trigger out with shorts coming in. That's why I like this setup here.
Yeah, it's a good time to take profit taking. If you went to sleep one day with Coinbase and you woke up the next day and it was being added to the S&P 500 and it was up 20%, you're gonna likely, if you're smart, you're gonna sell some. Yeah. You don't sell all your position, but right, if overnight, right, I went to work, I came back, my Coinbase is up 20%, I'm putting out a sell order the next day. That will cause these little small, pullbacks in these names.
I always like to give two sides of the market. I'm bearish myself, right? But I always like to give you guys bullish setups also. Bullish setup right here in ARM. Holding the 15-minute sideways on the 9 EMA really well. Really like institutional style, the way that this is looking. And so a lot of times I look for these, like the 15-minute charts, to look really pretty on these. The key would be like a 130 undercut and then a recovery for me on this. So make it look like you want to wash it here through the support and then bring it back. We'll see what happens there on ARM. And that would be a trend line approach. I talk about these all the time. When you start to see trend lines, look to see if you go back to it, right? So that'd be a cut down through here. Make it look like it wants to wash through 130. And then the stock starts coming back through 132. And then who knows? Maybe we start to just work our way to back to 136, right? So ARM is a bullish setup on if the market just rips higher here on the Qs, you could look to see if this plays in, right? And I like to give both sides. I'm never one-sided on the market. Don't get it twisted, guys. The key is just, of course, when you're making money, you're focused on making money, right? So that's what I'm looking at it. That's why I'm calling the downside potential move. But I also give you guys a lot of the times where the bulls could see the kind of the tides changing, let's say, right? And so the tides changing is a close back to 518 here on like a 5 or 15 minute. Yeah, back to that level, you start to push. Hendricks, hotkey in here.
Uh-oh.
All right. Hendricks, you can't get me out of positions, dude. I already told you. I know you like Ethereum and you like those cool cats, but
Q's maybe trying to break overview up here, but man, just
look at Hims goes,
sideways.
guys. I took some profits at the low there around the 62 just to like take some cash, right? But that's a nice break through the 62. And this is really starting to fall now. Next spot, 60, all out at 60. If I get to 60, I'm cashing it, man. That's 250 on the remaining 50 shares, guys. I didn't go crazy with Hims either. It was 100 shares, 200 shares, right? I think if I would have gone crazy, like 500 shares short, all that volatility at the very beginning, I wouldn't have been able to hold on to it. I would have got stopped out of the position and lost on the position.
It's a very important thing to note, right? It's all got to be a comfort thing, right? If you're too big and you're starting to feel a little itchy, you got to take some. You got to take some off, right?
Yeah,
let it.
And when you take some off, the pressure comes off, right? I feel like this is what I call a position of strength when you're seeing things work. Now the key is, don't forget the market. The market overrides everything. This is why I talk about how there's 4 variables for me that matter the most. One of the variables is overall market. So I can't lose trace of the market, because if the market just starts ripping here, guess what? These positions can easily go right back to 0. So we'll see what happens. Can we get the trend, these to continue trending, and the Qs finally to reject this low, the 516?
Yeah.
If that happens, then these could double. So there goes Hims, now 61.18s and dropping fast to that 61. I want to see a fast move through that 61 to 60. And that would be that kind of area where I could start to take profits or just run for the cash completely. So we'll see what happens there.
It doesn't look like the market's going to be making any fast moves anytime soon. Holy smokes. Is it summer or something? It just dried up entirely today. Said, all right, that's enough. We're not doing anything anymore. If anything, it looks like it might break higher here, but I wouldn't trust it.
Chop is one good way to get out of bigger positions. That's the only thing that I would say.
Well, it just shows, it shows you that we've got some up, we got some down, right? You know, Palantir down.
I'll think about it like a money manager, Michael. If I need to get out, what's an easier way to get out? In chop action, or is it on straight down action coming out? Right? It's probably going to be in the chop action, right? Where I can use those little upticks to get out some more volume, get out some more profit tick. So that's what I'm seeing on this move. That's why I'm like still on leaning to the short side. But of course, we're just talking, right? This is as talk as it gets. This is speculation to its finest here on a day like today.
Just remember, right? It's a basket of stocks. So when I look at the heat map, right, you can see the kind of Christmas tree look, right? Google's up 2%, and then Meta's only up a little bit, right?
And the true key is that those ones on the left outweigh all the ones on the second and third one on the right.
That's it. That's why
Right,
these
Michael?
boxes, right? Yeah. So yeah, for those who don't know how to read a heat map, I'm sure most of you do. The size of the box, the market cap, right? So the bigger the box, the more effect it's going to have on the SPY and the Qs. And then, right, so we can just go and we can actually point this. We can show you just the NASDAQ. So this is just the NASDAQ 100. You can see most of the big guys are up, and then all the little guys are getting kind of clobbered. Even Intel, wow, 4% down now on Intel. So yeah, this is why you get choppy markets. It's because you got some up, you get some down, you get some up, you get some down, and we're up on the day, right? We're up 0.5% today, but you're not getting much movement because they're selling Intel at the same time they're buying ARM, and then they're selling Meta at the same time they're buying Google, and because it's just a basket of stocks out there. That's all the Qs and the SPY are. When you have these days where half it's going up, half it's going down, then you get this choppiness. But that's fine for us because we're looking to pick kind of individual names. That's why I was able to be long AUR, which I didn't hear the British man, but I should be out of this ARE position for a full win. And
Long
I was able to
SQQQ.
take shorts on NVDL and things like that, right? So it's why you can play both sides when you have choppy markets like this.
All right, guys, taking a scalp opportunity here for the SQQQ just to make a little more cash. I got so much cash here that I might as well play with some and keep the gas pedal on. This is when I could make money, especially if the Qs break here. So what I'm doing, I'll risk $11 here to see if it really goes, right? Like there's nothing wrong with risking 10 ticks here. Really small position, 100 shares. It might run $1 and I make another extra $100 for no reason almost. So this is one of those where if the trade goes in my direction, I gas pedal here. And the key is the Qs keep rejecting here. Now I want to see how much weakness really comes in. Let's see it.
We are
the SQs for my man Steve out there.
we got to do something, man. Holy smokes, the market's just stuck.
Palantir is still looking interesting for me. If it does recover, though, look at that chart. Look at that chart, Michael. If we do get a move back, Palantir is just hanging in there so well that it could recover 130 and just drive back to 134. So that's one stock that I wouldn't mess with too much. I did short it earlier, but you got to be careful. Look at that. That's a nice setup for it to come back, not necessarily break down, right? And so we'll see what happens here.
I think Palantir had actually a pretty let's go to FinViz. I think it had a pretty decent short float here.
Hims, let's go, Hims. Let's break that 61. Let's go to 60, man. I've been in on this since 65, guys. I'm up over 4 points on Hims. Let's go.
Yeah, and again, this is just that's just showing you trend trading, right? The Qs has still done nothing. So it shows you the relative weakness in HIMS, right? People got to take profits. This thing is up. You can't forget, this thing has gone 60% up in a 3 to 5 days. What is it? 5 days here, 60% up move. There is a bunch of people out there like, okay, I got to pay myself. I got to take some of this off. And it's down 5% today, right? 60% up in 5 days, down 5% today makes absolutely perfect sense. You got to feed the ducks. You got to pay yourself a little bit. It's not even close to yesterday's low. Have to drop another 10% to get to yesterday's low. Yeah, so we're selling a bit there. I will say, just FYI, to Mitch, there we're at the 2-day VWAP. We reached the 2-day VWAP just there, so that can act as support sometimes. Yeah, so that's the average price of yesterday and today.
I like
sometimes
that information.
Can act as support there.
I like the information, especially when we're still in the indecision and we're near 11. So of course I can't be here on the computer during that time. So what do? I take cash. Appreciate that, Michael. That's how you can use information. He didn't tell me to take the gain, but he gave me descriptive information on my trade that can help me make decisions, right? We all make decisions for ourselves. I think it's very, very important to stress that. I think for all traders out there, this is what it's all about. It's understanding that your own decision-making skills are what you need to be working on, right? This is why Michael likes to rely on what? Creating systems and let the systems decide the actual decision, right? And this is what you need to be working on, whether it's building on your own subjective skills to enter on execution or it's a system. But either or, you're still having to determine and get that decision-making skill up, right? It could be building systems and how you're making those decisions, right? So I think that's the important thing. Keep building those decision-making skills. And a lot of times, like there's certain trades where you can make a lot of money just based on the fact that you got to be able to put on risk in certain moments. I felt like today was a good day to put it on, and I'm getting rewarded for it.
I don't know why Walter Bloomberg's tweeting this, but Kennedy says his opinion about vaccines are irrelevant. Does not think anyone should take any medical advice from him. It's like, okay, cool. why
Tell
is
that to Eli Lilly.
I was about to say XLV is.
Tell that to Regeneron.
And new
Tell that
lows
to
here.
UNH.
Man, Lilly actually looks the best of those.
Viant's Health might be cracking today, guys. We'll see what happens on that.
XLV is not looking good there. XLV making
I
new
think
lows.
it has to do with the Medicare margins, man. That insight into the Bank of America note, something that I was looking at before I heard it in the note, and then it comes out in an analyst note, is a big warning sign for me. It's a big red flag. Don't touch for me. Whenever I hear margins deteriorating, that's the number one thing that can deteriorate more of a sector-wide look. Because when margins go down, the fundamentals completely flip. Everyone was expecting somewhat this outlook for margins, and out of nowhere, they're completely adjusted. Those are the biggest flips in stocks. Could give you a stock at a cheaper valuation. That's, I think, what Michael's seen in his trade. But to me, they're just warning flags. And the real thing for me is that I think there's so many more opportunities right now in the market. Yeah. That's my thing, is that there's so many opportunities. There's like 1,000 trade ideas. To me, that might just fall a little bit on the lower side of priority. And
but yeah, lower beta. There's less juice in a healthcare name than there is in the tech names. That's why, again, you'll see a lot of people trade the tech names, right?
And Trump hates pharma. That's my thing. So why would I go to the one that he hates, right? If anything, I think I stay away from that area. I like the shorts also, but what it's going to do is going to do a short. It's going to rip your face off if you keep playing the short game on this one.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, yeah.
So
you have to be a psychopath to be like shorting UNH here. You have to just be insane. Because, yeah, one day it's going to bounce 10%. It's still on the daily chart clobbered, but it will just go up 10% one day. And you're
chasing now, right? But, I mean, XLV today just – that is no good. That's that Bank of America note to me, man. That's like, no. We aren't touching this with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, that looks like a sell program for sure.
Yeah.
When the candles are that clean, I guess I should tell people why I say that when the sell program is, because generally speaking, the market doesn't move this cleanly. Where every candle opens, upticks ever so slightly and then gets sold, and then upticks ever so slightly and gets sold, right? That's a programmatic. Someone has said, get me out of XLV. I've got 100 million shares to do it.
It's and the fat drug.
All it does, every time it upticks, the bot goes sell.
The fat people drug. All those big money that thought the fat people drug was just going to keep on going this year, they're getting their stop out too. Like Eli Lilly was viewed so positively, and everyone thought it was going to hit 1,000. Go look at the ratings, the targets by the analysts. I'll tell you itself, right? But look at Eli Lilly's change, and now it's breaking back towards 700. It's at 730 and could break support back to 700, and then to start losing altitude there. So I think that's what it is a lot. This market got, especially XLV and the overall health area, got a big lift from that outlook. And then a lot of companies were saying that healthcare plans were going to accept these fat drugs. So what did the analysts say? Well, then that will drive demand, and then demand will go even higher. So these stocks are going to go higher. Well, there you have it. That's why it's not just always that simple, right? Sometimes you got to keep watch on what fiscal policy is so important. Fiscal policy is turning on these stocks, and regulation is turning on these stocks. So in my eyes, I would be a little bit weary and investments in this space, especially now, right? You're way late on the weight loss drug to trying to ride that momentum now.
Yeah, it's, the story there is over, right? Unless they come out with another one that's even better in some respects, yeah, maybe. But yeah, it just seems like one of those, yes, Lilly looks a little bad right now, but just zoom out a little bit. Right? This is 2021. It was $100 a share. So yeah, it can give up what, 20% from highs, because even if you just go back a couple of years, it's up 300% still, right? So this was all the markup on those drugs, and then the people buying those drugs right here saying, oh, these drugs are going to be great. You kind of miss the move, right? It looks like Nvidia as well, right? Everyone's saying, oh, AI is going to be big. It's like, well, no shit, AI is going to be big. But Nvidia has gone from $10 to $100. So it 10x'd when everyone else was participating in this. And that's why if you're going to trade stories,
adding on SQQQ, sorry.
If you're going to trade stories, you just have to know that once it's all priced in, it's all priced in. And with Lilly, it just looks like it's priced in right now. So it's not going to move based off of weight loss drugs. It's going to move based off of how much pushback they're going to get from the administration, or until it discovers or buys a company or whatever that has the next drug. That's just how, especially biotechs, work. As soon as you have a drug that goes through FDA approval and gets approved, everyone goes, okay, you spent X to develop the drug. You are probably going to make Y until it becomes off patent generic, and they price that in, right? So yeah, Lilly, a lot of these guys, again, seems priced in. So now we got to remember too, just in a really big base, right? It's a huge base here, and it could be one of those things where it's in this base for a long, long time, just annoying both sides.
All right, guys, big moment here on the Qs. Let's see if we start to get the dump here. I added on the SQQQ there, stepping up to the plate, looking for the move, and I just moved the stop up a little bit on the SQQQ here. But let's see if it actually makes the move there. It looks good. Looks good doesn't mean it's going to make the move, right? So we'll see what happens there as that's on that setup there. But yeah, man, healthcare is a crazy area. I think it's just too hated right now by the administration, and sometimes we got to catch that, right? Like I think that's a very important thing to catch. Just like I think it's important to catch a lot of quantum comments have been coming from Trump, keeping me on the radar for quantum names, right? You got to catch what he says.
I would love to sit down in a room and ask Trump, what is a quantum computing? What is it? I'm just gonna let you talk for 10 minutes. Explain to me quantum physics and a quantum computer is. Just go and just have a beer and just let them go.
It's super smart. It's gonna be the best invention of the universe.
Beautiful. It will be great. I just that's a comedy hour right there.
It's pretty advanced stuff from what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Not a clue he knows what a quantum computing can do.
You gotta have fun, man. If Trump can meme the Pope, I gotta be able to meme him. So
there you go. No, it's just, and it's one of those, it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. He's got some advisor out there who's telling him that quantum computers are going to be important, because they will, right? Because everyone knows that if quantum computers actually go live, Bitcoin goes to zero tomorrow. Like, everything in the world is hackable very, very quickly. So yeah,
if I add an Ethereum, well, how's that a thing? Oh, I'm weighing it. Should we try to wake up the chat? Hey, chat, let's have some fun here. You guys in the chat, if you guys feel I should add to Ethereum here, throw a 1, add to the short. If you think I should cover or get out of the position, throw a 2. Let's see what you guys say in the chat. See if you guys wake up out there.
Yeah, I just think, the chat's probably sleeping with the market. Man, Qs, come on.
Sleep. I'll wake you up.
Is there it's almost like we're waiting for an event, but there's nothing going on.
There's nothing. Do you know what there is? There is one. There's a bunch of Fed speak today, man.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Fed Waller, Jefferson.
Speak. And those Feds, you know what they've been saying? Bunch of stagflation concern.
Yeah, It'll be. I don't know if we've heard. Have we heard from JPOW since all the tariffs have been completely backpedaled
He's
on?
talking. So there's one at 10:25 and there's one at 2. Oh, actually, no,
Yeah.
that's not. That's not Wednesday. Is So we got 9:10. So we should be already done with Waller. We should be done with Fed Chair Philip Jefferson. Now we only
JPOW
got
speaks tomorrow. Yeah.
Mary Daly, and she's after the bell. So there's nothing there. There's no news, man. This is just a lull in the action.
Oh man, but I went to tomorrow. There is like
Tomorrow
15 at 8:30. There's like 15 to 20 economic events coming out at 8:30. So yeah, tomorrow is going to be a busy one for sure.
And it's really important for 2 areas. Well, 3. Dang, 3 numbers could be really affecting things. Initial jobless claims, I think, is the least important. But you got retail sales and you got PPI and producer price index. So
and then a bunch of little junky ones too that by themselves probably don't mean anything, but just add it up to the rest of them. The algos are going to be busy tomorrow at 8:30.
One for let it run. I like it, Shockwave. Shockwave said, "Don't touch it, don't add, but let it run, baby. Let it run."
It's probably the move. Quite often,
it's probably the move. Probably the move here. It's all about the cues. Let's be honest. If it's all about it, the market's actually going to pull back, right? If this move is going to continue going, right? Now on HIMS, I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking about at least raising the stop here. Because I'm not going to let it come back to a VWAP rejection there. There's just no point. No, I'm up like 474 on this on the day, guys, and I'm just pretty much riding the day, right? So it's been a really good day.
Right, so this is the 2-day VWAP, right? This orange line right here, you can see on HIMS. So this is where our boy Kenny always talks about, and this is where I'm looking to see potentially my next play for a mean reversion kind of setup, right? So it's come all the way into the 2-day VWAP. You can see it's fighting back and forth there for a long time. If it gets some lags there, maybe that'd be a good place for a bounce. If it fails, though, this is what I remember when I was talking to Kenny in New York. He's like, when those 2-day VWAPs fail, look out because there's nothing else to catch it, right?
Q's coming back, guys. Q's coming back.
And the next area there to catch HIMS is like 55, which is just insane. So are they going to do it this time on the Qs?
All right, guys, stops out there. Stops are out there. And no matter what, we'll be cashing today, guys. A really good day overall. You guys can see I went trading today, 22 tickets. So it wasn't a small amount, man. Crazy amount. Market's coming back, though. Qs are ripping, guys. I think this is maybe the attempted fake out to all the shorts. And then now they can get the squeeze on. And that's why I already got stops set there. And we'll start taking some cash if it starts to come back here. So, hey, there you guys have it. Not a bad day today. Still taking some losses, right? I even started the day down 61. So it's a good day overall. Not a bad day at all.
No, it's a good looking. Looks like we might finally go this time. Maybe, But yeah, some good trading today.
There you go. Just hit the triggers there. 528. Tried to give myself an extension. Still got this 138 out there. So not a bad day. I'm stop out is 6408 here. If we get hit on ETHU, let's see if we get hit here. The key is I'm not going to let it go all the way back to the VWAP. I'm going to give it this recent high that it did. Maybe a little bit of a couple ticks more, like 6408. Maybe you can do 6410. But other than that here, probably just going to trigger out at 6408 and get the heck out of this. Ooh, it's just 1 penny away. So I'm going to give it a little room here to 6411s. Let's do 6414s. There it goes. It should trigger in a second. It's trying to get me here.
Yeah, the Qs look like, I don't want to jinx it because it's tried 5 times, but it looks like it's trying to break to the upside into the space. Yeah. Could be just another fake, but kind of felt like, we pulled back there, and every time it looked like it was going to roll over, buyers came in. So might be one of those people trying to cover shorts to get out, because as we talked about, as of the last reporting date, as of Monday, the market was net short. The large speculators out there were betting against this market as we were ripping in their face. So that kind of creates a scenario where potentially on every downtick, somebody's covering, because they just got completely hosed, and they just need to get out of those positions.
And we'll see if the market can actually climb. Was it a fake out? I mean, I think if it gets above 519 is where I think it'll be a breakout. And now we're watching to see if it does a breakout move. It is actually pushing back here. But at least stops are set. I'm done for the day pretty much, guys. It was a pretty good move. Hey, Mitch, hope is not a strategy. No worries. I already did the strategy. Now it's just more let it work. The market works for me. So
yeah, that's it, right? Is you hit the button, you have the stop loss, you have your out, and then you can hope. Because it's not like it's you're always gonna hope that
who doesn't want to make more money?
Right. You're always gonna hope. There's no sense stopping that. Just as long as it's not part of your decision making. Then
no.
Right.
Hope once the stop loss is set. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's pretty much that's going to do it in a second here. We'll be getting out of here. Qs are starting to climb back up. Let's take a look at what sectors are starting to turn here. I think that's an important outlook that I like to give a lot. So let's go look in here. If you can see here, we're going to take a look at the last 10 minutes here. So let's take a look at the last 10 minutes here and see what is leading. Energy and technology leading the move to the upside. So tech, of course, the area that we want to see lift off. That's the Qs. If you're trying to see that kind of get the lift, what is doing well today? That's what you want to be looking at. It's a lot on NVIDIA, I see. Let me take a look here on the daily. Got some smaller caps names. Let's look at some bigger caps. Microsoft doing really well. Google lifting the market here, guys. That is a big push there in Google. So if there's one name kind of bringing it back here, it's Google. Look at that move. That's a good one.
Huge push there on Google. Huge push on NVIDIA too.
One thing that I said earlier, I think might be coming into play, Michael, just to bring it back. And I said, I think money managers were looking around at the Mag 7, right? The big boys, and seeing what hasn't gone. Where can I put money in? Like you said, I need to be exposed here. And I need to be exposed to the top companies in the world, right? So how can I get in? They got into Amazon just recently, right? They got into Tesla yesterday. Google was one that was just hanging out there. Maybe they're just grabbing Google now. They're like, well, in this environment, forget the DOJ. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, and it's
a good move.
And then, right, you can kind of see that if you look at MAGS as so this is the Mag 7 ETF, and look how strong that is, even relative to the Qs, right? You're seeing that where there, you call it the catch-up trade, right? The idea is they got to look and they got to say, I need exposure because in a month I'm going to have to answer for why I'm not up as much as the market's up, and we need to get that exposure. So Google's interesting. NVIDIA really surging here as well. The Google daily chart, I think, is one that I was watching while you were chatting there, where it's got a pretty solid level here at 165 or so, and definitely been the underperformance of that whole group. If we end up getting through that 165, that looks interesting to me, where that could potentially try to catch up with the market. And from a fundamental point of view, I love the stuff that everyone hates, and people have been talking a long time about how Google's dead because everyone's using ChatGPT for search or whatever. But I think they could get them. They could get them back.
I think at the end of the day, it's I think they're just they're combing the ditches, as I like to say. They're like, what has not gone, please, because I want some exposure. And on a good quality name like Google, it gives you a little bit more of that backing, right? At worst comes to worst, maybe we get a little down move on Google, but we ain't going to see a disaster on Google anytime soon. So there it is. It's getting the buy. And if the Qs continue to ride all day today, this could be the one that kind of just continues to grind it up right back up. Yeah. So,
although we're pulling back from that breakout on the
Qs. In Ethereum. I'm still in on Ethereum, guys. I'm still holding in on that. I think I'm going to ride this Ethereum all day, guys. I think I'm just going to set the stop and forget it, guys. Set the stop and forget it. Give it the chance to give it the big win there, guys. I'm going to just go ahead and just pull off of it here. We'll see what happens there in Ethereum today. Can we get another big fall in Ethereum? All right, guys. 10:57. Let me just take a look to see if there's anything else that's standing out on the intraday action today. AUR, man, bounce back.
I wish I was still in. I got to the 2-day VWAP there and took my cash roll and ran. So that was good. That was the only full winner today. There was a lot of kind of partial winners, but yeah, that was a great VWAP fade there.
No, Rigetti having a decent day there. Looks like the quantum name got hot, and it was one of the names in the ditches. It got picked up today. IonQ still look at that fake out again through that 33 breakout. It keeps faking out on the first move. I will say that on IonQ. Be careful with that first move. Seen it now 3 days in a row. Palantir is still hanging in there, man. I've talked about it. If the market could go green and actually hold, this is still the setup.
If the market moves, it's the QQQ, right? You got to look at those.
Duster looks good.
Yeah, I'm still in my GDXD there, up a little bit on it, but looking for more. Looking to see it's kind of 650, which would be just more of a pullback in gold, right? Gold's looks like it could be potential top in the making. I'm not going to expect it to go, all the way back to 2000 or anything, but yeah, maybe it pulls back to, 280 or something.
Looking at different ways to play this, and one of the things is I've talked about it plenty of times, how when AU rides a trend to the upside, it rides it, but it also breaks the trend on the downside and rides the downtrend. So in a swing account, yeah, to me, I think it's a beautiful look off of the recent high. 41.73, pretty much set 42s of your risk, and you could look for a breakdown back towards like maybe 35 or even 30 on AU. About half of the move back is what I would be looking at. 50% retracement of the recent rally in gold. Not a bad look, man. Not a bad look. Look at Pony, man. This was one that I wanted to go after today, and it's continued all day long. All day. This is a fader, man. When they don't even want to buy it on it. Big part of this was the news about it having a fire. I was like, oh yeah, that's going to be an easy way to get this stock that's been ripping to bring it back down, right? You give me a news about the car coming on fire. I don't care if anybody got caught in the fire. Your car caught on fire, man, and that's not good news.
I am out, at least for now. You got to remember, a lot of Teslas caught on fire, though, so maybe eventually, right?
Yeah, it's not a bad move, but it's a perfect rejection of this high, right? Like 21.29, 21.50, just overblows it for a little bit, and now it's just been straight down move. So it's one of those things where maybe if the catalyst wasn't there, it wouldn't look like a good short today. But with the catalyst on it, a flip of mentality can happen, right? It was looked at so sexy yesterday. Then the news comes out today. And even if I was the investor, what would you think if you were the investor, right? You have a lot of money in this. And then all of a sudden you hear the next day, oh, one of the cars caught on fire. I am
taking my profits because, unless you got any time in the last couple months, you're up big on it. So you see a 200% return in your account and that starts to dwindle. You're like, no, I'm out.
That's why I think it's a good look. It's a good look that could come crashing down, right? 13 really quickly or something like that. So not a bad look there. Look at Pony. It's getting washed some more. So hey, that tells me more and more that my Ethereum, I can hang in there. HIMS could still reject there off the 15-minute kind of 90 MA. I could get back into HIMS and keep playing it there. I don't think it's a bad play. I would just like to play that VWAP. That's the only way I would play it back. But that'd be later in the day. All right. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. 11:02. I hope you guys enjoyed it today. Good action on both sides and cashing today. Finally, good bounce back day for me. I needed it. I hope that you guys enjoyed the action. Of course, keep up with Michael Noss and everything he does. You guys see his tag right there. Follow him on Twitter. Follow us, Trade the Pool. Follow me, MoneyMitch_TTP. And we'll see you next time. John, thanks for coming in today, man. You brought some information. And, hey, no matter what, man, I appreciate you. And that's what it's all about. We always are looking for some more traders out here. So like always, hit that share button down below to let everybody know this is the place to be. We'll see you next time right here on, of course, Trade the Pool, and keep on trading, guys.